What is going on, everybody? It is episode 722 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I am here once again with my co-host. Introduce yourself.
That was
please.
an intense Brett.
Yes.
My name is Brett. Hi, Crisis Actors.
I emphasized both T's in my name.
It's Mary. I know it's a beautiful day outside today, but there is nowhere else we would rather be than cooped up, providing content for you.
It's a life of just endless content.
Always and everywhere.
Also, my mic is like moving obtrusively, so if it falls off today, it's more content.
Yes, exactly. Everything is content.
It will be great and clipped for everyone to see. It'll be fantastic. They'll love it. It'll be great, and I won't be embarrassed at all. It's going to be great. All right, guys, it's going to be a good day today, and I want you all to know that if you are new here and you have never seen this show live before, you should go and subscribe if you have not subscribed here yet already. I know there's a lot of new viewers.
There are already, a new, like, 3,000 people, just maybe 4,000 since yesterday?
Well, then we're hoping that they tune in here and they watch and they see the mic fall off and the overemphasis of words and they stick around.
Yeah, maybe they'll put up with us for long enough. And I know someone joked about us reaching 200K by Halloween. Halloween is tomorrow and we're 17K away from 200K. So it's unlikely to happen within that time frame, but we are actually reaching that milestone very quickly. So I guess I'm coming to the realization live on this stream that we need to come up with a plan for that.
Yeah. We'll have to think about it.
We're going to have to think about what we should do to celebrate 200K.
We're going to get there. It's going to be a celebration. We got a bunch of stuff to get into today, guys. But before we get started, again, hit the like button on this video. Subscribe to this channel. If you have not subscribed here yet already, please and thank you. Remember that the best way to help channels like this is to share these live streams, our segments out. Share them with your friends, your family, your loved ones, the people you like, the people you don't like, a mortal enemy, perhaps, if you have one. You know, that's something that very few people actually get to have. So maybe share these episodes out with them so they can check it out and share it with all of their friends. Those are the best ways to help this channel grow. And what are we getting into today? Well, it is Halloween tomorrow, as Mary has so astutely pointed out. And the thing is, we are going to look at the most offensive costumes. Or, well, actually, no, let me rephrase. There was like an article written by one of these outlets that's like, please don't wear any of these costumes. And they were all super safe and not offensive at all. I mean, a couple of them were, but for the most part,
the standards have shifted so quickly, and now we have some examples from years past as well.
Yeah, so we're going to do that. We're going to look at some of what Twitter finds offensive, which is obviously a lot closer to that word than what the people over at these old outlets are saying. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about actress Anna Kendrick. If you don't know, she was the one who was like a blank face in The Accountant with Ben Affleck. You might also know her from Pitch Perfect, but
right, she made the Cup song in Pitch Perfect, which I never liked. She was also in Twilight, mostly in a girl, girls girl movies. Yeah. She's a girls girl actress.
She's promoting a new movie which does cover the topic of domestic violence, and she has been going about on podcasts using that time to trauma dump about her own past experiences. And I have questions about, what is the discussion that happens between the actor and the studio when they're like, are you going to be able to draw from personal experiences when you go to these events? Because clearly you're picking these projects because it means something to you. It's just very interesting how the horrors of real life can be intertwined with their art, but it also connects back to this because she did not take a salary for this movie, so there's activism connected to it. We'll discuss it. There's a lot there. Also, was it People magazine?
Yeah, People's Sexiest Man Alive is counting down. We're about to find out who 2024's Sexiest Man Alive is. And I just think the whole tradition has turned into a massive joke. They just released the latest list of the subcategories. Yeah. Sexiest podcaster, sexiest pickleball player, whatever.
I didn't get a call from them.
Yeah, weird, right? Yeah. Kind of offensive. But yeah, we're going to go through some of the contenders.
Yeah. And I'll ask them why it wasn't me.
Yeah.
That's the question.
As you should.
Are you ready to go?
Yeah, let's go.
We're just going to jump right into it. All right, first things first, tell us about Luce.
Yeah, it looks like the Catholic Church has appointed a new mascot for the year of Jubilee, which is next year, 2025. And it's caused a lot of controversy. I don't know if it's just because of my algorithm. I'm loosely associated with Catholic Twitter, so there have been a lot of arguments about it. Her name is Luce, and as you can see in the photo...
We mentioned this yesterday, though,
yes.
Right? Just for people who might not have been here.
Yeah, this did come up yesterday, but as you can see in the photo, she is like kind of in the style of manga, anime. She looks more like a chibi character to me. She has blue hair and a yellow raincoat and green boots, and she has this little shepherd's crook as well. And I think she's very cute. And I was not sure how to feel about Luce when I first saw these posts, but I realized I didn't need to pretend to hate this to seem cool to people online who think that they're really trad. And that's like such a niche community that most of you probably aren't familiar with it. But to simplify it for you, there are people who think that there should be guitars in mass, and there are people who think there should not be guitars in mass. And the people who are against the guitars in mass are more likely to be anti-Luce.
Wait, the people who are so the people who are against the guitars in mass would want nothing to do with Luce. It's not.
That's modern
enough.
Music shouldn't be in mass.
This
is a modern art style, so they don't want it associated with anything to do with Catholicism. But I disagree, because it's not like you're displaying this in a church or anything. It's literally just a mascot for kids, basically. This says, Archbishop Fisichella says the mascot was inspired by the church's desire to live even within the pop culture so beloved by our youth. Luce will also serve as the mascot of the Holy Seas Pavilion at Expo 2025 in Osaka, Japan. And I went through the explanation for each detail of her outfit. She wears these green boots with dirt on them. And
I see the dirt there.
Yeah, the dirty boots are a symbol of humility and a long, arduous journey. And the green is to represent hope. And she's wearing rosary beads that represent a life filled with deep prayer. I just think it's a cute... I like it. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I don't like it. I think
so. There's meaning
people
behind
are looking
every
for
aspect
reasons.
of this?
Yeah, but I mean, people are looking for reasons to be mad, and I don't really get it.
I mean,
the one thing I'm aware of is that allegedly the artist who was assigned to create this mascot for the Vatican also has in the past created pride art of some kind, celebrating pride. Like, I don't know if that for sure. I don't even know the name of the artist, but that's what I've heard. That's the rumor. And if that's true, I feel like that's obviously a bad look, but I don't think it should stop you from liking this specific piece of art.
Yeah.
You know?
In the chat, I think Sketch Therapy said rainbow rosary ? It's not a rainbow.
No, it's actually,
green
I
and
looked
yellow.
into this. The rainbow color rosary does not represent LGBT pride. The rosary that Luce is wearing is called the World Mission Rosary. It was created by Fulton Sheen.
I mean, that just sounds
in 1951.
Very globalist to me, but I'm probably wrong.
Well, the colors of the rosary represent the 4 main mission territories of the world.
I mean, I kind of like that there's meaning behind every aspect of the art. Like, that's good.
It's not just random anime character. Pop Culture Junkie said, I am so gloriously happy that you are growing subs. Great to see a decent percentage of the population needs to save time by having you filter all the online crap and present only the tastiest morsels to them.
Well, exactly. Well, then some people complain that we don't cover the right stories, but it's more about what's fun.
It's about having fun at the end of the day.
In a lot of ways. You can't be it's really funny because people think it's about being mad, but I get animated about certain topics. I certainly have my own feelings about the Quentin Tarantino one that we'll get into, but it is one of those things where you have to leave it at the door when you're done. We immediately forget everything that we cover immediately after the live stream ends. It's weird. Like, I don't go home and stay mad about it because I'm kind of a pragmatist, and I'm like, look, if they want to waste their money and they want to continue to fail, that's their business. It's not going to hurt me.
Right.
Like I've got a lifetime's worth of movies that I can watch forever, and I would never have. Like I literally wrote like a 8-paragraph thing about Roswell, about the show Roswell on Twitter last night at 3 a.m. about the start of season 2 of Roswell. I can make.
I'm glad that you're passionate about it.
But I'm just saying, like, you would have material forever. Like, I would love for everything to be great and for all the movies to be awesome. But let's be real, it was never like that anyways. Everyone remembers it that way because classics have been made, but everyone then compresses time down.
Yeah, but the bad movies back then were bad for far different reasons.
That is very true.
I think that's the reason why people say everything sucks now.
Yeah. Well, it's the same when people say that everything is unoriginal. I'm like, no, it's just that nobody ever talks about the original stuff. Yeah.
Well, guys, let us know what you think of Luce, whether or not you're Catholic. I want to know your
Does the blue hair, is the blue hair make Luce a feminist? I saw somebody in the chat mention blue-haired feminist.
Well, look, I've had blue hair before, and I've always been aggressively anti-feminist. So I don't think that's necessarily a reference to anything political.
You'll know this better than me. So I imagine, and you can correct me anywhere along the way, that one of the issues when it comes to Catholicism spreading its message is that there's that battle between people who want to hold to tradition and people who want to grow and reform. I know me and you have had discussions. It's really funny when Mary will get in depth with me about like inner like battles in the church about people saying you should only go to Latin Mass. And I'm like, you should maybe worry about just getting people to Mass at all.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny
let's
how
start with getting them to Mass at all.
someone who doesn't go to Mass knows this common sense principle better than people who go on a daily basis.
So I get the reason for the fear of like the rock bands and stuff like that, because they feel that tradition is slipping through their fingers.
Well, it weirdly connects to Hollywood because Hollywood is constantly chasing after the appeal to the modern audience that doesn't exist. And weirdly enough, it seems like not just the Catholic Church, but other churches in general have been falling into the same error where they think people are flooding out of our churches. Let's try to make our churches resemble more of the world instead of distinguishing what the church is for. So let's make it look and sound and even teach more similarly to the world. To bring people back in, but that's actually completely counterintuitive.
It doesn't make any sense to me because once they leave, they can go anywhere. What you should be looking to do is separate yourself from the real world to find people that are looking for that similar path.
Now, I would feel differently about Luce if they were, putting up statues of Luce in churches and treating it like it's some kind of religious icon.
Yeah.
That's not the same thing as just coming up with a cartoon for kids.
Like I'm just picturing like what the meetings are in the Vatican Slack about branding.
They're talking about Luce. They are not talking about Conclave movie.
Is there a Vatican Slack?
I bet there is.
I bet you there is. Or does the Vatican look? They're old school. They've got Microsoft Teams. There's a Vatican Teams channel where they can talk about all things that they're working on.
No, they only write letters.
Look, I get it. I get the eternal battle to try to find people to, get people to find your message and kind of fight this creeping modernity that seems to infect every aspect of culture. It's one of the reasons I think so many people see what we look at today as modern Hollywood or identity politics as a form of religion to begin with, because it does seem to gobble people up and you're not allowed to question things and you have to fall in line. And when it's so baked into the culture on every level, but offers you the freedom of not thinking of it that way, it's very hard to break people from that and push them towards something else. So
for sure.
So what do you think? I saw somebody say you should be a Luce for Halloween. What are you thinking? You only got a day to do it.
I know. I mean, if I tried to go out and find stuff for a Luce costume tonight, I might get trampled because it's just going to be a madhouse. But I did think about it.
I mean, maybe the better idea would be to not go to a costume shop and think of what regular stores you could go to find these items.
But I don't have enough time.
Yeah.
We're literally the night before. I guess if they unveiled her earlier, I would have had more time.
Fault.
This is actually the Vatican's fault.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Tell us what's going on with Margaret Qualley, who certainly is becoming a star in her own right today.
Yeah, Margaret Qualley was recently starring in The Substance with Demi Moore. And they're not only making possibly one gender-swapped American Psycho in the coming years, but two.
Yeah.
Because Margaret Qualley now is set to star in a Victorian Psycho movie. Like, this is part of the American Psycho cinematic universe.
Okay.
It's about an eccentric governess who is tasked with caring for children in a secluded Gothic manor, all while concealing her psychopathic nature.
Look,
Why does this need to be connected to the American Psycho movie?
I mean, other than the American Psycho part of it, I think it sounds like an interesting idea.
Yeah, it is. It's just why are we doing this?
What I see here when you see that movie pitched is I picture like the cinematographer like, yes, this is going to be freaking awesome. I get to go to town on the set design and the lighting. It's like I saw this thing where they were talking about the director of Nosferatu lit a scene with 200 actual candles.
That's cool.
And they're like, and actual spiders or actual rats in the movie rather than CGI. And everyone's like, yes.
I know that that's like artistically, like that's cool from an artistic perspective, but if I were on set, I would just quit.
I always wonder about that for the I think but the thing is the actors are so in the moment. That's what they value. So you just know that most of them today, they're not the ones who are going to be like, ew, I don't want to do that. They're the ones who are like, but what if I actually threw up? Like,
yeah, you're right. They're trying to one-up each other.
Nobody wants to be the one who puts like the weird substance in their mouth to puke. They want to be like, no, I'm going to like actually puke on set. No, could you actually get a real lion to like tackle me?
Yeah.
Because they want to be able to brag to their friends at the, while drinking adrenochrome about how they did the real thing.
Right.
So.
Well, I think that the idea for the movie is not a bad one. I just wish that we could have stories like this that aren't derivative of other IP because it's completely unnecessary. And
it sounds like a genre where it doesn't even need it.
No.
Like these movies do well on their own. Actually, I'll rephrase. The only reason why I would imagine that they would need to make this movie under an IP would be to give it a bigger budget.
I guess.
To justify a bigger budget.
But that's why they keep doing it, and it's like you can make this movie on a smaller budget, more creatively.
Well, we'll have to wait and see about that.
Without connecting it to Patrick Bateman.
There's a 20 there.
Nate said Elizabeth Bathory, I'm in.
They should make when are we going to get the Jackie the Ripper movie? We'll get that eventually too.
They're just going to gender swap every serial killer. That's the next move.
Well, I mean, that's where do you fall on that though? Because everybody else complains that they never, they'll never make. They would always say like they're not willing to make black villains anymore, which was a thing for a time, but they don't really. Yeah. They don't really fall to that anymore. Female villains, perfectly fine.
Okay. Female villains need to have different stories than male villains for it to make sense. Absolutely. That's my problem with it. Women aren't serial killers. Like there have been female serial killers, sure, but that is not typically a female behavior. You will see that behavior exhibited for the vast majority of the time in men.
Yeah, because it's sexually motivated.
Well, not always. I don't even mean that. I mean men are more violent. That's just violent behavior like that, especially obsessive violent behavior, compulsive violent behavior. You're more likely to find that in a male character. So for a female villain, there needs to be an element of cerebral evil, an element of manipulation, something like that. And I've seen that done well plenty of times. I don't see why you need Jackie the Ripper.
I'll give you an example. So in the show Warehouse 13, I told you that they made they gender swap H.G. Wells and make it a woman. Jamie Murray plays her.
Sounds incredibly lame.
In it, She starts out as a bad guy who becomes a good guy, who then becomes a bad guy, and then becomes a good guy for the rest of the show. But I kid you not, they turn it into a thing where she develops a time travel machine, and she eventually tries to destroy the entire planet because her child was killed.
Okay.
That seems more in line with, she's driven mad by the loss of a daughter.
Yeah, it's giving Scarlet Witch.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I'm on episode 6 of Agatha All Along. You find out that that the teen is Billy Maximoff. It's Wanda's kid.
Oh, okay.
And he's like super OP and stuff like that. Still can't see what's going on half the time because everything's shot so damn dark. But yeah.
I thought you were praising the light.
No. Okay, so here's the thing. When they're on the Witch's Road, you might as well, it might as well be pitch black out. You can't see anything that's going on.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's done because it's heavily rendered CGI, and it just makes it easier to do.
Right.
But the rest of them, basically each episode they have to go through a trial, which basically gives them license to lock themselves in a room, which is just a giant soundstage, and build CGI and set elements around it, and then you don't leave it for much of that episode. And those scenes are done unbelievably well. But if you pay attention to the industry, you can tell that what they were doing was maximizing the use of their budget by limiting the amount of locations they had to travel to for each one. But since it fits within the confines of the story, it makes more sense. But this episode suffered because the actor is just not as good as Catherine Hahn. And Catherine Hahn is remarkable in every scene she's in, and I will sing her praises. Even if the show is mediocre, a lot of mediocre shows are saved by really, really charismatic leads.
There are a lot of shows making the mistake of doing character study episodes.
Yeah.
When you have such a short season that's like 12 episodes or less, which is the majority of these streaming shows now, you can't waste time doing a character study on like every member of the cast. And they did that with this recent season of The Bear as well,
which you like the show in general.
I like the show in general, but the last season of The Bear I just couldn't stand.
Yeah.
And it was just wasting time on irrelevant bullshit about each and every character. And I'm like, okay, what is the point of there being a protagonist if we're just gonna spend 3 hours with this side character?
It made a little bit more sense for this show because how he relates to Agatha matters, and they made the subject of his backstory part of the mystery earlier on. So you could have explained it in less time, but it would have felt like a letdown.
Is he giving Rusty vibes from
not nearly
from
as bad.
Major Crimes?
Rusty from Major Crimes may be the worst written character in the history of television. If you ever talk
Don't listen to him, Rusty.
If you ever talk to someone who ever saw the show Major Crimes, ask them what they thought about Rusty. If they say they liked him, run.
Just
a bad
block
sign.
that person's number. You
sign.
don't want to know them.
All right, let's move on then, shall we? So, good news for everybody. Apparently, Jimmy Fallon gets a boom from the Rizzler and the rest of the Costco guys.
Right. The Costco guys, for some reason, got invited on Jimmy Fallon. And Jimmy Fallon had the Rizzler, a literal child, if you're unaware, give him a lesson in how to do the Riz face.
My favorite meme says, I love to see the evolution of a Pokemon, which is, if you can see the screen, they just left or right to left.
All right.
So here we go. Okay, I'm sorry.
His feet are so far away from the floor.
Look at the dad. He's wearing like dress Crocs.
It's not visible on
He's
screen.
wearing like dress Crocs that go all the way up.
What the hell? Bro, you're on national television. At least wear jeans that don't have rips in them.
I'm gonna need the dress Crocs.
The Rizzler, his feet are like a mile away from the floor. How old is this?
Jimmy's had a little too much filler and Botox.
Jimmy is not what he used to be. He went through a twink death.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Somebody was saying in the comments that Jimmy Fallon very clearly didn't like having to have these guys on. I didn't see any of that.
I thought it was a perfectly friendly interview.
Somebody said that Jimmy Fallon clearly hated these guys and the Roots clearly loved these guys.
Also, I just found AJ's fake laugh a little disturbing.
Well, I mean, what do you think?
But he's just a kid, so he doesn't know he's doing it.
Wait, I thought AJ was the dad. Big Justice is the kid.
I thought that AJ was... Wait, so Big Justice is the kid?
Yeah.
Okay, Big Justice was over on the other seat, and he was like,
Yeah.
he was probably very nervous. So I'm
sure they were.
I'm not going to judge the poor kids.
You know, this is a lesson that just make one video, guys, and you too can end up on late night television.
You can be the Rizzler too.
You too can be the Rizzler. But you'll have to learn how to mew first.
Yeah.
You'll have to learn how to mew first. Oh, also, is there there's a Philip Reed.
Oh.
There's a 20 there.
Sorry, I missed that. Philip Reed said, I'm here to simply share something I never thought I'd read. Violent J from Insane Clown Posse has his own fursona and fur aunt in which he attends cons.
I mean, does that really shock you? That a member of the Insane Clown Posse would also be a furry? That seems perfectly
actually checks out.
Now, if you were like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of somebody very buttoned up. Who's a musician that's like, now if you said Jay-Z has a fursona?
If you told me Michael Bublé had a fursona, I think, that would take me by surprise. But have you ever listened to Insane Clown Posse?
Not me, but I had friends that listened to it when I was younger. Yeah.
I noticed that there was like a whole niche community of ICP stans on TikTok.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, I didn't even know these people existed, but
like
there are like Gen Z.
Oh, like new generation ICP fans. Okay. I wonder if that's supposed to be like irony.
Maybe, I don't know.
Which is sad, because I would rather it be organic and you.
But they were like,
them.
Here's why Insane Clown Posse is actually a cab.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if I can imagine that Gen Z could do it without it being ironic, whereas my generation was full of Insane Clown Posse fans who would go to like, what do they have, the big event every year?
What is it?
They have like the ICP festival or whatever it is.
That scares me.
Yeah. I just, not me. Not me, but I didn't listen to. We were listening to, my friends were listening to them at the same time I was listening to Eminem, so it would be kind of like you picked your camp.
Eminem is much better.
Yes.
Like objectively much better.
Objectively much better. All right, let's move on then, shall we? We got a bunch more stuff to get into today. So I was looking at their shoes earlier that the dad was wearing, and they look like Crocs to me, but the problem is, guys, schools are now banning Crocs over safety concerns, which I find to be completely valid, because when I was traveling this year, I think I tripped like twice over my Crocs when I was at the airport.
How you live that down, I will
didn't
never
fall.
understand. You will never socially recover from
I
this.
just stumbled.
Gen Alpha keeps tripping and falling over their own Crocs, so schools are banning the shoes over safety concerns. Here's the thing. The schools should be banning Crocs for other reasons. Maybe the fact that it's the laziest piece of footwear you could possibly choose to wear.
Nah.
And you should be putting effort into your appearance out of respect for your fellow human beings.
Yeah.
Instead of wearing Crocs and slides with socks.
I'm down for it, man. Thank you.
There's no decorum anymore.
See, I think it's perfectly. Even if juggalos also wear Crocs, I think it's fine.
No, I mean, I think people need to clean up their act. This is not acceptable. You can't be wearing Crocs and slides with socks and sweatpants out in public. It's not acceptable.
So are you one of the dress up for the airport people?
I don't dress up for the airport, but it seems like these days people dress down specifically for the airport.
Yeah.
I'm just going to dress in a very normal, comfortable outfit rather than wearing my actual pajamas. And I certainly will never take my shoes off on the plane.
Well, I've never seen anyone do that, actually.
Well, consider yourself lucky, because that's just beyond the pale.
Wait, when did that when does that happen to you? Does that happen to you on a regular basis? Like
I've been on some long flights. I don't care how long the flight is. That is not okay.
Keep your shoes on.
That is not okay.
You gotta bring slippers with.
I mean, just be an adult. I've been on a 17-hour flight before, and I kept my shoes and socks on the entire time.
I remember, okay, so this actually just hit me with like a core memory. They used to yell at me when I was in high school because I would wear moccasins to school, and they would say I couldn't.
Why weren't you allowed to wear those?
I have no idea. I don't know. They didn't want me wearing moccasins to school.
The Sperry's? The boat shoes?
Just literally like moccasins.
Okay.
I had moccasins. that
That is a little embarrassing.
No, they were awesome.
I just remember that the Sperry boat shoes were like the shoes in middle school. Like, if you didn't wear Sperry boat shoes, you were a loser.
Well, yeah.
But I always thought they looked stupid.
It's also probably like was that like a financial thing? It's supposed to say that you have money. They weren't expensive.
They weren't expensive though.
Yeah.
Like, why this?
Yeah.
We're not going boating. Because
you can only wear them on. You should only be wearing them on a boat that you actually own.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just thought it was funny because I bought my first pair of Crocs this year, mainly for skating, meaning like when you go skate multiple spots in a day, you take your skates off, you put your shoes back on, you go to the next spot, take your skates off, you put your shoes back on. And I was just sick of, taking my shoes off every spot and then having to put them back on. So I got Crocs.
The Croc resurgence is something to behold, though. I mean, my first and last pair of Crocs I had when I was 8 years old, and I am not going to be purchasing them again.
But you're okay with Uggs.
Yeah.
Hypocritical.
Why?
Yeah, pick one. Yeah, you can't just pick
Uggs are high quality and useful boots for winter.
Okay. But there was also this video.
Some people don't know that Crocs exist.
That's kind of a good
life.
Like,
what world do we live in? I don't know.
That's kind of a good life, right? That means like you just don't know what's going on.
Jenna Ortega.
Pass.
Oh my God.
No. Yeti. Stanley Cup.
Halle Berry.
No, I mean, to be fair, a lot of people could miss that one. I think I said that one wrong several times in the period of time that we were talking about Little Mermaid.
We need to go on this show.
Yeah.
Halle Berry. Pass.
They should have a close enough category.
Yeah.
Mr. Beast.
Oh. Just say shoes. You're not wrong.
Pass. Couldn't think of the word. Pass.
She's like, I don't know. She didn't even wait for that one.
No,
She's like,
not even a thought.
Not even thinking about it.
Baggy jeans.
That one's too easy.
I mean, I would actually be thinking that that's like should be a different answer. Like,
right?
Is it
Too
should be
simple.
more specific? Otherwise, how does baggy jeans work for that? But I can't just say sandals for Crocs or shoes.
Right. Yeah.
Pass.
It's Jack Harlow.
Didn't you see the Men in Black remake?
Elle Fanning.
I almost said Dakota Fanning, so I would have gotten that.
Lil Nas X.
Ugg slippers.
Pass.
That was like a mean pass. Like, get that thing off the screen. Pass.
Pass.
Gay.
Pass.
I'm just waiting for one of them to be like, they all look alike.
Everyone who watches this show would know the answers, I think.
Jaden Smith.
Gaten Matarazzo.
Congratulations.
I think both of us need to go on this show.
I would have gotten the second to last one wrong.
What was it, Gaten Matarazzo?
Yeah, I'd have gotten that one wrong.
I would have gotten it.
I wouldn't have known that one.
He has a memorable face.
Look, the whole point of
I'm
watching
not gonna say
this
if that's
show,
a good or a bad thing.
if you're in the chat, the whole point of watching the show is that by the time you're done watching it, you should be able to go on this show and win.
We're informing you. We're getting you ready for trivia questions.
The Crocs one, actually, I kind of get, because I can see it being one of those things where, look, okay, I'll give you an example. So earlier, we were talking about ICP.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, the festival, it's Juggalos. Right? And which is something you know, but unless you're like in the moment thinking about it, it just doesn't come to mind, especially when you're live. So they're in the moment. She's like, oh, I just can't think of it.
Who is worse, the Juggalos or the Deadheads?
They're from different generations. You can't even compare the two.
You can.
No.
You can, actually.
No. Deadheads.
Because both of them still exist in the current era. Deadheads are worse?
Yeah.
Why?
Leave it alone. Just move on.
It's been too long.
It's been
like,
too
let
long.
it go.
Move on.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
you could say the same for both, though. Both of them have been far past their prime.
go to Bonnaroo one more time and then move on with your life. All right, guys, I want to move on. I want to talk about what's going on. Further news is coming out about Joker. So Joker 2 is already out on streaming just 3 weeks after its release. The movie bombed at the box office. It only made $200 million on a $200 million budget, which means if you include the theater split and the marketing budget, whatever that marketing budget may be, this movie lost a lot of money. But there is contentious takes about whether it's a good movie or not. Certainly, Quentin Tarantino is a fan of this film.
Yes, he recently did an interview comparing it to Natural Born Killers, and he said he kind of likes that the movie sucks, basically. I really liked it, the entire concept, even him, Todd Phillips, spending the studio's money. He's spending it like the Joker would spend it. The comic book geeks, he's saying F you to all of them. He's saying F you to the movie audience. He's saying F you to Hollywood. He's saying F you to anybody who owns any stock at DC and Warner Brothers. If you were Todd Phillips reading this, would you feel offended?
This was the question I was gonna ask.
Is this like a backhanded compliment? Or
What about
what?
The success of the first Joker, which makes $1 billion on a $55 million budget, catapults Todd Phillips' name into mainstream success beyond just the stuff he did earlier in his career. Certainly, he's in more of a name now than he was when he was making comedies earlier in his career. Mm-hmm. Okay. What about that whole experience warrants him becoming the Joker at all?
Yeah, what gave you the audacity?
Like,
to put it simply, yeah.
Like, you should have gotten closer to Batman than you should have to the Joker after that successful run.
We have a 20 from Potatoes for Seamus. If an actor became trans, is there a need to gender swap a role in a movie or show? Mary is down with the clown. Jelly Roll is/was a juggalo. Brett needs to be Mocha for Halloween. Mary needs to be Sydney Sweeney for Halloween. Not going to be Sydney Sweeney for Halloween. I don't think that you need to gender swap a character just because the actor transitioned in real life, but they did that for Elliot Page in
Umbrella
Academy, which was a really stupid idea.
So, no, would I be offended if I was Todd Phillips? No, because he's from the same artsy community and probably takes this as a huge compliment.
It seems like a backhanded compliment to me. Like, Tarantino was like, I love that he just didn't care about making a good movie. He went further. He said, I liked it a lot, tremendously, and I went in to see it expecting to be impressed by the filmmaking, but I thought it was going to be an arm's length intellectual exercise that ultimately I wouldn't think worked like a movie, but that I would appreciate it for what it is. And I'm just nihilistic enough to kind of enjoy a movie that doesn't work as a movie. That's like a big, giant mess to some degree, and I didn't find it an intellectual exercise. I got really caught up into it. I liked the musical sequences. I got really caught up. I thought the more banal the songs were, the better they were. He was saying he liked it because it sucked.
Yeah.
He loves how bad it was. Like, he likes that it doesn't work at all.
I've pointed out multiple times, because somebody in the chat saying, don't listen to Brett, the movie was great. I think they're talking about Joker. I didn't hate this movie as much as everyone else did. I tweeted about it the night it came out. I said, maybe because I didn't love the original Joker and didn't have this great connection to that film, and I didn't take what happened in the prison as what was later said to be from everybody else to be some type of gang rape scene. I did not take it that way, so I did not interpret it in the same way as everyone else. I feel no sort of way about this film. What I do find interesting is that only in Hollywood, and we'll read that one in a second, only in Hollywood do you get to ask your employer for $200 million, get the $200 million to deliver a product for them, deliver a product that doesn't work for its audience, and then tell both your employer, the audience, and the studio that hired you to F off. There is no other industry where you're allowed to do that, at least not that I can think of. Somebody can maybe prove me wrong here, but it's not even just that he was allowed to do that. It's that from the artistic perspective of the creative side of this industry, is celebrated for it. And there is this endless back and forth while the creatives whine about not getting creative control over their work, but never want to accept responsibility when it doesn't make money at the box office. You are not strictly an artistic medium anymore. You have shareholders. You have a studio that has to fund these projects. You are somewhere in the middle between consumer product and art. And the problem is right now, studios have gone the other way. Most of these studios have gone the Marvel direction, which is to limit the control of a director to a great extent. There is very little leash while making a Marvel movie. Unless you're Sam Raimi or one of these big directors that they get once in a while, they're not given the creative liberty to make the movie that they want. They want to make the movie that Marvel wants because they got this great overarching story that they think they're going to be able to tell. If you want to get directors more creative liberty in these films, you cannot be so blasé about something that costs $200 million failing. You just can't. What I find interesting is
we
what
have
they
to read this at some point. There's a 20 from Pop Culture Junkie. He said, "What do you think, folks? Is Todd Phillips due for a movie jail, or will it take another box office stinker?" Movie jail?
I
he's going to be just fine.
He'll be just fine.
Actually, they love what he did.
Look, I don't think Warner Brothers loved it, especially
given
the fact that
he threw up a middle finger with the thumb, out to emphasize the FU.
The funny thing, look, not letting studio creatives on set, or not letting studio executives on set while making your movie. Imagine that in any other business. You're working for Elon Musk making Cybertruck 2 Electric Boogaloo, and he's like, "I want to see what you're making," and he's like, "No, F off."
It's private.
It's private.
Get out of my room, Mom. I said get out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he throws the screenplay at Warner Brothers. He throws the screenplay at James Gunn when he tries to walk in the room.
One of the things he talks about in here is about derivative filmmaking. Guess what? You have to make films that are at least a little bit derivative. Because usually the great art house pictures, the ones like that are recognized for their genius, aren't recognized in the moment. They're recognized for it later. The reason why people love Joker so much was they draw its comparisons to Kings of Comedy and to Taxi Driver. So there is a backdrop of previously made art that people have to call from, which is why maybe newer generations haven't seen those movies. But, older generations, my dad went and saw this movie. He probably remembers Taxi Driver. More than somebody who's younger going to see these films. And I just find it funny that we consistently hear from the creatives about how the studios need to do better. And then whenever the studios do what's in their best interest, they get mad. Okay, so we have the strike that ends. Well, guess what? All Hollywood productions are now moving out of California. Gavin Newsom just had to implement a brand new, he had to double the tax credits for the state of California because after the strike, all of the productions are moving overseas. And there is this weird back and forth between the directors and the writers who are needed to make these movies. But guess what? They always consistently undersell how much they need the other guy's money. And there's never going to be a great solution for something like this, but it's not just art. It's corporate slop. Most of the time, it's corporate slop. It can still be great. I am sick of the argument about something being objectively good, which I think is a meaningless discussion these days because nobody talks about objective good in movies. They talk about their subjective analysis of it and then conflate it with being objectively good, because there's plenty of objectively good movies that I don't care about, and there's plenty of objectively bad movies that I love, and that is true of everyone, right? I just find it interesting because it's not just that he did it at all. It's that he is supposed to be celebrated for it by the people who have already made their money.
Well, wouldn't Tarantino be in a better position to make statements like this?
That was what I said to you yesterday.
Make a movie with the budget of Joker 2 with the intention of saying F you to the people who funded it, to the people who watched it, and everything like that. He would be the one with the actual precedent as a filmmaker to do so. And as you pointed out, Todd Phillips, I have no idea where he gets the audacity. And a lot of these creatives have an ego problem. I don't know what changed, but maybe that was always the case. They have an ego problem, and for some reason they seem to conceive of the executives and the financial side as they conceive of the Hollywood studios as angel investors, basically.
Yeah.
And the angel investor is different than a venture capitalist who wants his money back on his investment. The angel investor is, funding something because they believe in the cause and are relatively indifferent to whether they make their money back. That is not what Warner Brothers was doing when they offered a $200 million budget for Joker 2. Even close.
I will also lay a lot of the blame here at the feet of Warner Brothers, who greenlit a movie that he didn't want to make, which they were very clear about. Like, they didn't have ideas for what the sequel would be. But
it was like Joaquin Phoenix had a dream about it.
But we understand that in this business, money doesn't get left on the table. There's a reason why there's 10 Fast and the Furious movies.
We have 2 20s. Gordon Shumway said, before the 70s, studios did all the post-production and editing, not the directors. Looks like the directors took it too far with weirdness. It's the logical conclusion of when you let theater kids ruin everything. SMDH. I completely agree.
I've said that to you a bunch of times. I said, what I think used to work is that you had business-minded, probably conservative-leaning executives and money men who understood that these things needed mass appeal, and their job was to be basically the governor on the creative motor of on the creative engine.
Sometimes that doesn't go well, like in an example, like Jennifer's Body, where the studio totally misunderstood. Yeah, but they totally misunderstood the way to reach its audience.
Yes.
Because Megan Fox was starring in the movie.
But I don't think that that's a failure of them stopping the movie from being made the way it needed to be made. It was a failure of them not knowing how to promote the movie or market it.
That's true. We have another 20 from Weary Traveler. I'm late but caught up. Will we ever get Blue Hair Mary one day?
That has been seen on here.
No, I mean, we have shown photos of Blue Hair Mary, but Blue Hair Mary is never coming back, if that's what you're asking. I'm leaving that in the past.
Yeah. Look, I just think that it's one of these things where people, and again, I think your point is perfectly said. Unless you're Quentin Tarantino, you better not be talking Quentin Tarantino if you're not Quentin Tarantino.
Right.
Right? Like, he has earned that right.
Isn't he like working on his last film right now?
He scrapped the idea he had for his last film, and he's working on his 10th and final film. I think he feels boxed in, and he wants to probably do more, and then we'll end up going to TV, is what they're saying. Like, he'll end up producing a lot of TV. It is what it is, but I think the average person who works in any industry where you actually have to create, like, the whole point of a capitalist system is you're supposed to create a product that offers objective value. Now, when you enter the arts, that subjective value has to be measured monetarily in your return on your investment, and it gets murky when you get into that territory. And I think it's funny, but I'm not at all surprised that the creatives and the executives are going to be at each other's throats forever. It's why I always say it's actually kind of a miracle that any movie ever gets made, let alone made well.
Yeah.
So, all right. What would you like to see? Cringe or cute of the day?
Let's start with cringe.
Cringe?
After
Okay,
our second
after the crisis party.
Crisis party goes off. Thank you, guys.
Eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, eat the cat.
Okay, cringe first?
Yeah, I think we should start with Will Ferrell cringe.
We will start with Will Ferrell.
When is he not cringe these days?
That's a good point. Here we go.
Hey guys, it's Billy. I am back on the street with the one and only Will Ferrell, and we are out here today to represent a very important voting demographic, loud white men for Kamala Harris. So you ready?
Am I the only person who still finds it weird that they bring race into, like, voting block talk like this? It's weird.
I don't find it weird at all.
Will! Sir, we're loud white men for Kamala. Join the call!
Join the call!
Hell yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, who are you voting for?
Kamala Harris.
Yes, exactly. Have you voted yet?
Mail-in ballot.
Oh, mail-in ballot, bitch! Miss, for $1, would you have sex with a Trump voter?
No.
Thank you. Sir, we're loud white men for Kamala. Join the call.
Yes.
Yes.
I support Kamala.
Yes, that's not that loud, but... Louder.
Oh, louder.
Yes.
I support Kamala.
Louder.
I support Kamala.
Yeah. Miss, did you hear?
He's a risk taker because he's got the phone in the front pocket where it could very easily fall out at any time.
Kamala wins. She's gonna make Buddy the Elf Secretary of Christmas.
That would be phenomenal.
Would you have sex with a
I remember them saying that they were going to put the adults back in charge.
Trump voter?
Ugh.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir. Loud white men for Kamala. Join the call. Go Kamala! Yeah! Yes! For $1, for $1, for $1, who are you voting for? Yes, there you go. Yes, yes. Okay. I have to go. Yeah. Tell everyone in East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania to vote for Kamala.
East Stroudsburg, vote for Kamala.
Please, sir. Loud white men for Kamala. Join the call.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who are you voting for?
Kamala.
Yeah. What's your name?
My name is Corey.
Corey. Corey for Kamala.
That's just it kept getting worse. Wow. Do they really think that that's like helping?
I don't know.
What do they think this is accomplishing?
I don't know. Like,
Isn't it kind of weird also that every time they interviewed a woman, they asked her if she would have sex with a Trump supporter, but they never asked the men that? Because they're like, they know men will just take what they can get.
guys, like, oh, yeah, it depends.
Look,
You
I
know.
mean, I might be a few drinks in.
It's like, I'm not saying I'd be happy about it. Okay. All right. Let me brighten everyone's day with some cute of the day because that was particularly bad. Wow, I hated that. Okay. This is from Robin. Thank you for sending this in, Robin. It says, we adopted Ghost at the end of July. For the first few months, he was too nervous to play, but he's finally opening up. Look at the tongue.
Was that Ghost?
That's Ghost.
Oh, okay. Cute.
I like it.
Kind of has ghosty vibes.
Yep. All right. One more here. Wow, I'm still struggling from that. All right, this one is from Brian. Says, for cute of the day, this may look like an ordinary kitty, but in fact, it's our little chicken nugget, our cross-eyed chicken.
Aw. This is a cross-eyed cat.
People in the comments like to point out that my eyes are too close together, but you know, eventually they'll just go cross-eyed.
Right. It'll get stuck like that.
Yep. All right.
That's a cute cat.
Let's go ahead and get started.
Are you okay?
then.
Just
That
checking.
that was awful. You know, here's my problem with what we just watched. Is that we talk a lot on here about like every time one of these celebrities shows up and promotes for Kamala Harris, everyone's like, they're on the Diddy tapes. And I'm like, no, these people are true believers. And that's...
Oh no, they're not getting pressured into anything.
They're not getting pressured into anything, and that's fine if you're a true believer. I disagree with you, but it's like, what was that? Like, they don't even have to pay for that type of embarrassment.
My favorite Billy Eichner moment was when he tried to interview that woman on the street.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what he was asking her, but she was like, "I am not the one. Leave me alone."
I remember that. We talked about that like a year ago.
He's super annoying. Yeah.
All right. Offensive Halloween costumes. Let's get started.
Yes, I'm really excited to react to some of 2024's most offensive Halloween costumes. But in typical BuzzFeed fashion, BuzzFeed has published an article warning everyone what not to wear on Halloween to avoid offending anyone's sensitivities. They say, please, please, please do not wear any of these wildly offensive Halloween costumes this year. I can't believe I even have to say some of these.
There was none of these that I found wildly offensive.
Well, I guess, you know, people are so sensitive now.
Let's start with the first one.
Even these will hurt their feelings.
You can't go as Ozempic, so Lizzo's in trouble.
Yep, Lizzo's already canceled.
I also saw that she went as, she's had like multiple costumes. She went as Face Card yesterday.
Like what, a credit card with her face on it or something?
Like it's like a full, yeah.
That's clever. You can't dress up as Liam Payne because he died.
Yeah.
So you can't dress up as anyone who's dead, I'm assuming.
I saw a video, like a screenshot yesterday on Twitter. It says, "Here's why removing dates from Twitter is from YouTube is a bad idea." And it was a video from Liam Payne titled "I'm Back."
Oh, yeah, that could go terribly wrong.
Yep.
Let's stay away from any dead celebrity where the costume has something to do with their death.
Adrienne Curry gets a shout out from them here.
They called her out.
They called her out.
And you cannot dress up as Diddy either. That would be offensive. Nothing to do with white parties,
Like,
because that's related to Diddy
but
as
here's the
well.
thing. Maybe you're just going as a Miami socialite.
Right? How would
Everyone
they know?
in Miami wears white all the time. I could be like, I'm going as an extra from CSI Miami.
Or these days, you could wear sunglasses inside, and everyone's going to think that you're dressing up as Diddy.
Exactly.
You can't dress up as Diddy's baby oil either. You can't dress up as an IDF soldier or Putin or Kim Jong-un or Hitler.
I want to know why it says nuke.
I don't know.
Why nuke twice?
He needs to really emphasize that he's holding a nuke. Yeah.
Okay.
You definitely can't dress up as Hitler.
Of course. Taylor Swift, that
or
makes
a
Taylor's-
Holocaust
that gets
victim.
Taylor Swift in bad company, given that she wore that costume that one year.
Right.
Can't go as Anne Frank.
Yeah, you can't go as anything related to Roe v. Wade or abortion. Didn't know that was a thing. And you can't dress up as a Handmaid's Tale character, which you're only allowed to do if you're protesting in favor of abortion.
Wait, so I have a question. This is a legitimate question for you. Who's going as the abortion doctor? Is it
What is that? Like, who is that person?
See, to me, I see the person going as the abortion doctor as like the rabid feminist.
No, they're literally chaotic neutral. Like this, this person is the embodiment of chaotic neutral.
The point I was trying to make is it's like I imagine it being a rabid feminist, but what it actually is somebody who can move between friend groups to do that.
And you were just offending everyone.
Yeah.
Like literally no one isn't offended.
Like
because if you're pro-abortion, you think that it's trivializing it, and you think that you want to hide the brutality of abortion. If you're pro-life, you think it's also trivializing it, so you're offended too.
Yep.
This person is completely just chaotic neutral. You're also not allowed to dress up as Donald Trump, which
I do appreciate.
I don't understand.
I do appreciate the gap around the eyes for the spray tan.
But if you're dressing up as Trump, it's impossible to tell whether you're doing it to insult him or compliment him.
Yeah.
Which I think is a reason to dress up as Trump. Like, that's you're not going to offend anybody because no one will know if you're trying to mock him.
It's the point I always make. I said hipsterism died when nobody would wear MAGA hats, ironically, because they're too afraid of having to explain it to people.
You're also not allowed to put your kid in any political costume either. And nothing related to Trump's assassination attempt.
I like how they make it out to be as if they're reaching across the aisle to make that statement. They're like, hey, we don't find assassination attempts of any president funny.
You can't dress up as the JD Vance couch meme.
Why?
Why not?
No, seriously, why?
No dead version of a politician. Why? Wait, suddenly we can't make fun of politicians. When did that happen?
These people love the government. These people love government in all its forms.
Okay, you cannot dress up as any dead or zombie version of any famous dead person.
By the time we got here, I started to wonder if this article was trolling.
I know, but it's BuzzFeed, so you know they're being serious.
Yeah, I can't tell.
No zombie football players, especially if their brains are showing, because it's insensitive to them for having CTE.
The first time I saw this, it reminded me of the scene in Not Another Teen Movie where the guy gets tackled by two people and cut in half.
Oh yeah, I remember
it says, "Walk it off, Ricky."
Well, you can't dress up as that because it's offensive.
Can't go as Osama bin Laden.
Right. No terrorist costumes. Nothing related to immigrants. And you can't dress up as the southern border wall. I didn't know that was an option.
What if you
can't be a sexy border patrol agent?
What if you said I'm going as Pink Floyd's The Wall instead?
I think you could get a pass.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, there's this,
no sexy border patrol agents.
No sexy ICE agents. No sexy cops because ACAB. Can't be a sexy SWAT team.
This has to be trolling.
No January 6th related costumes
Well,
either.
nobody was ever actually charged or convicted of insurrection, so you can do whatever you want there.
Yeah, you can also not dress up as any serial killer.
So let me get this straight. Ryan Murphy can make a bunch of money showing serial killers, not even telling the truth half the time, but you can't pay money to go out and do it on Halloween. Okay,
Yeah.
so where do you draw the line there? It's okay to make money doing a true crime podcast where you talk about these things, but going out for one night for a party is just a bridge too far? Are both of them not trivializing the horrors of human behavior in some way?
And how would we cope with the horrors of humanity if we weren't able to make jokes about it?
That's the whole point, is that life is a lot less arduous when you can laugh at yourself.
No Menendez brothers costumes.
Nope.
No O.J. Simpson costumes. No Sid and Nancy costumes. No, I'm assuming you'd say that about any toxic relationship. No Joker and Harley costumes. No Sharon Tate costumes. No JFK or Jackie O costumes. No Epstein costumes.
No vaccine.
I cannot believe that's a thing.
This has to be fake.
The Epstein costume is crazy. You can't dress up as a COVID microbe or a vaccine. No cultural appropriation. That means no sombreros, no nothing.
Remember, that's because they believe that their idea of cultural enrichment is food trucks from other countries.
They will never stop dragging Hillary Duff for dressing up as a pilgrim. For like, that was years
Try
ago, and they
harder.
bring it up every single year.
Can't be Julianne Hough.
Yep. Also offensive. Okay. What else? This just never ends. Nothing with the word slave in the name. No slave Leia costumes.
Nope.
You can't wear any sexy children costume,
So,
like
like, no
children's
yeah.
character. You can't be a sexy minion.
Tell that to
Or
everybody.
sexy Dora the Explorer.
Tell that
or,
to everyone yesterday who was doing their hear me out things. With
Yeah.
all the porn-brained women.
Yeah, you're gonna need to make an article about them next.
No sexy schoolgirls. Nothing.
Right.
So basically, guys, you can go as yourself.
After we've gone through the list, what can you dress up as? Like, what's safe?
You can go as a Ghostbuster, as one of the Ghostbusters. You can go as, but you can't. Okay, let me rephrase. You can go as one of the Ghostbusters as long as you're not playing as long as you're not going as Ernie Hudson's character. Because if you go as Winston, you know it's blackface.
But then you're specifically not dressing up as one of the female Ghostbusters, so that's misogynistic.
Yeah.
You can maybe dress up as like a piece of fruit. Like you could dress up as an apple. Maybe that wouldn't offend anyone.
I would love. So earlier I was talking about how like peak BuzzFeed or like one of these missing like media organizations was they would have sent somebody undercover to figure out whether the McDonald's ice cream machine was really broken or if they were lying and just saying it because they didn't want to make it. I wish they could hire somebody undercover to go to like the BuzzFeed Halloween party.
It must
To
be.
see-
The vibes are so atrocious. Every time I'm reminded of BuzzFeed's existence, it shocks me that they're still up and running. And actually, Vivek Ramaswamy is a major shareholder in the company now, and he's threatening to just buy them out completely if they don't meet his demands. So good on him. But let's look at some costumes that break all of the rules.
Here we go. First
That I
things
saw on Twitter over the weekend. A man dressed as human trafficking. Human traffic king.
The
He's
question
wearing a
is-
traffic light and a crown.
If
And
you're-
he's a human traffic king.
The question is, I guess, is he lives for when somebody asks him who he is and he has to explain it.
Oh,
And-
yeah.
And his face starts smiling with every word that
Yeah.
he says.
I would love this. You know, he's holding up his hand because he wants to stop
Yes, he's stopping.
human trafficking. And then you've also got the Forbidden Diddy costume
I think-
with the baby oil. It's a couple's costume. Diddy and baby oil.
Yeah.
They said that didn't take long.
Because this tweet, I feel like I see this tweet every year. Maybe I'm just misremembering
Somewhere
it.
a white person is planning a Halloween costume for tonight that's gonna F up their whole future. Yeah, I think this kid might have done it.
Yeah.
There's also double mastectomy costumes now.
Can't do that.
Actual body horror.
Can't do that. And then you'll have to explain to people this one.
Saddam Hussein's hiding spot if he served.
They
You can dress up as Saddam Hussein's hiding spot.
Yep.
This person is wearing stilettos, by the way.
Do we want to talk about gay Halloween?
Well, we're not even there yet. We still have to talk about more offensive costumes.
What do we have left?
I think there are Twin Towers couples costumes too.
That one, it's like missing here. I don't have the link. It's not. It was here. It's not here.
Oh,
anymore.
that's like we cannot miss that one.
I think they deleted it.
I'm sending
from
it to
me.
you.
I think they deleted it from me. I think the CIA. Oh, there. I got it. Here we go. All right, here we go.
I mean, this was like years ago,
Yeah,
and
this
they
is
tried
an
to
old one.
ruin these girls' lives for wearing this. Like they dressed up in these really detailed homemade Twin Towers costumes.
And the thing is nowadays this might not be a problem because Gen Z looks at 9/11 vastly differently than previous generations.
Well, I think these girls are millennials, so I don't know. I guess
But I'm saying if they redid it today,
it was too fresh
Yeah.
back when they did it. There are also, back in 2015, Spirit Halloween sold Caitlyn Jenner costumes for men. It was just such a different time. And 2015, that's like current year. Like that was the last year where you could have even gotten away with that.
Yeah.
And just barely.
I really think that people underestimate, not to get too like philosophical or analytical. I don't think people appreciate the pressure that's put on society when everything you do now has the chance of being recorded and filmed. You look at those old videos where people are like, this was what high school was like in the year 2000. It's like a montage of people and they all make funny faces at the camera.
Right.
If somebody puts a camera in your face now, you don't make a funny face.
No,
you say,
you just get
what
really
content are you
uncomfortable.
making? Stop it.
Yeah.
Like,
You don't even want to be in the background of someone's photo or video.
people are on edge now
Mm-hmm.
because you're constantly under surveillance no matter what you do.
Yeah, so you can't wear offensive costumes. You can't make offensive jokes.
Is there a costume that you can think of that would offend you?
That would offend me?
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
What comes to mind
Yeah.
is Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox dressing up as a blasphemous portrayal of a nun and a priest that was very sexualized.
Okay.
And making a mockery of the Eucharist in doing so. That was not even that long ago. I think it was only a couple of years ago that they did that. And that offends me because I'm Catholic. I'm also willing to recognize that it's not going to offend most people. It's because most of the people looking at this don't have any respect for my religion. They're not a part of it and they don't understand it. So yeah, I would find any like sexualized costume of a nun offensive, or a saint or some religious figure. I would find that offensive. I'm also enough of an adult to understand that other people are not going to understand why it's offensive to me. So I don't even have the apparatus to control other people wearing those costumes. I would just rather not see them do it.
Yeah.
But for some reason, that concept is lost on people.
No,
now.
there's the desire to control and to enact your will on other people for those.
If I were a dictator, things would be different. But I'm not. There was also the gay Halloween meme. I don't know if you guys saw this, but in my algorithm, it was all gay Halloween. And what that means is Halloween costumes for people who are on chronically online gay Twitter.
You're going to have to explain all of this to me because I didn't get a lot of these.
The trend was, I hate gay Halloween. What do you mean you're dressed up as insert niche internet meme here?
There's a 20 there.
That Stanzatastic said, can we get a spin the wheel for what order we do topics every day? Also, an apple, how dare you bring that fruit up? What if that wall guy says he is the wall for women who are hitting it? Also, hear me out. Here's a 20.
Thank you.
Thank you for the 20.
Yeah, I didn't see any. You know what I'm surprised that they didn't do? I'm surprised there was no Andrew Tate costumes.
Actually, yeah, I'm surprised too that wasn't on the list.
You come with you get
or like someone could dress up as the red pill.
Yeah. What are the things called? The little mini cars for kids.
Oh, I don't know.
The
Fisher Price?
yeah, but like you have like a little Bugatti
Yeah,
that you carry
yeah.
around with you.
Baby Bugatti.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, gay Halloween essentially just means that Halloween isn't for real life anymore. It's for pictures that you post on the internet.
So,
it's literally just a picture. That's all it is.
So it's all for content.
It's all content.
Yeah.
I hate gay Halloween. What do you mean you're the tennis ball from Challengers? Like, this is
tennis
no
ball
one
POV.
in real life understands what that means. I hate gay Halloween. What do you mean your Sigourney Weaver's nail polish in holes?
This one I like because it's so in depth. It says, I hate gay Halloween because what do you mean your Nene leaks in her season 6 episode 4 Nemesis, the white refrigerator? Like, I like the idea of being so in depth in your knowledge of something that you have to make a costume that no one's going to understand.
It's just a little bit sad to me.
Yeah.
That it's not, it's not for public consumption. It's not for socializing. It's for people to go viral on Twitter.
Well, yeah, nothing's about living in the moment anymore. It's about turning it into content.
I hate gay Halloween. What the hell do you mean you're the pole that knocks the girl's head off in Hereditary?
I hate gay Halloween. What do you mean you're Chapel Roan in a passenger seat?
If you know, you know. If you don't, then you don't. I didn't understand most of these because they're all like making movie references and it's not for normie consumption. It's all just for the terminally online gays with stan accounts.
Pretty much, yeah. But there is a discussion to be had about how nothing is about the actual physical moment anymore.
Right.
It's about how it's captured and then broadcast back to the people that they have no interaction with in the real world.
But people are dressing up as like GIFs now. Like they have a favorite GIF that they use in replies on Twitter, and that you dress up as a GIF.
I want a dude to be like my year-long journey to become the Chad meme for next Halloween, where he just gets into incredible shape.
It's just real life.
Yeah.
Like it's not a costume. It's not a bit. It's not a phase.
No, like he does like the Nikocado avocado thing. He gets into incredible shape for 1 year, does it for one night, and then just lets himself fall apart again.
No, he gets fat and then he's like, this is my Nikocado avocado costume.
And then immediately gets back into shape.
Yeah.
But here's the problem. If he did that, it would have to be turned into content.
Mm-hmm. It's
all of these
content.
used to be the stories that you told your friends amongst each other that would actually bond you closer to the people you spent every day with. Now it's just done to be passing by, passers-by and random information that will go in one ear and out the other that nobody will ever actually pay attention to past that next moment where something else catches their eye.
Yeah.
It's
Well, let's
depressing.
read some super chats. Shane H. Wilder said, Happy Halloween, Ween, Brett and Mary. After yesterday's discussion, I had to make something of Mary chilling with Luce. Thank you for that. I think we're friends. Andrew Jacobs said, Mary, did you sing backing Vox on Plush on Monday? No.
No, you did not.
No,
you did not sing any background vocals.
No, I kind of just took James O'Keefe's phone and recorded them because he wanted to have the video for, he's just going to be holding that moment, that
Forever.
memory, cherishing it forever.
Do two more.
Shane H. Wilder said, anyone who voted for the apple with razor blades just doesn't know how to have fun. The razor blades are the best part of the apple.
It's only got 37% right now. Oh, if you're wondering what they're talking about, guys, I put a poll up in the chat if you are watching live. It says, what is the worst Halloween candy? The options were circus peanuts, candy corn, Tootsie Rolls, and apple with razor blade.
So if you voted apple with razor blade, you obviously don't know how bad candy corn is. And what almost made the list is Twizzlers. Always such a disappointment when I got those. I hated anything. What was the coconut candy?
Mounds.
I hate those.
Nobody likes mounds.
Hate those. Milk Duds, I barely tolerated. Cowtails, disgusting.
If you were going to a movie theater and you couldn't get food beforehand and you had to get something from the
concessions,
yeah, what would you get?
I mean, probably just like popcorn.
Popcorn?
I don't want to. I don't like getting a box of candy because it's always like super overpriced and.
Yeah, it costs like $50.
Wait, what?
I'm over exaggerating.
You spend $50
No, I'm
in
saying
the
that
theater?
I was exaggerating. The candy costs like $50. It doesn't. It costs like $10.
Well, it is like Pretty much.
Yeah.
The way that it's overpriced is compared to if you buy it somewhere else. Yeah.
Do one more.
Insane. Marco said Mary should be Luce for Halloween. I've considered it, but I don't have enough time to get the costume together. I don't know.
Thanks, Church. You should have come out with it sooner.
Thanks a lot, Pope.
All right, let's move on. Anna Kendrick.
Anna Kendrick is doing the rounds to promote her directorial debut movie right now. It's called Woman of the Hour. And in her press tour for this movie, she is making some creative choices. I'll call them that. She is using this as an opportunity not to necessarily talk about the movie itself, but to relate it back to her own personal experiences of having an abusive relationship and misogyny, which doesn't make me personally any more interested in watching the movie. It just makes me wonder why she's oversharing on a podcast about her ex-boyfriend.
Do you think that this is a unique marketing tactic that works specifically mostly with women? Because I know that this, like, first of all, this movie is not meant really to reach the male demographic. It seems like it's more inherently designed for the female audience, which is fine. But this type of marketing tactic seems perfectly in line with what the traditional modern woman actually wants, which is oversharing and in-depth discussion about the worst moments of one's life.
Well, that's why Call Her Daddy is the most popular podcast for women in the US. I should explain more about the context of this movie. Woman of the Hour follows the true story of a woman who won a dating contest with a man who turned out to be a serial killer. This centers around serial murderer and rapist Rodney Alcala, I believe it's pronounced.
Okay.
He actually appeared on and won the dating game in 1978. His prize, a date with the episode's bachelorette Cheryl Bradshaw, never materialized because she found him too creepy. And after his appearance on the show, he killed at least 3 more women before he was finally caught. Anna Kendrick says, I was aware of the story in the way I have found out about 50% of the population to be aware of the story. Oh yeah, I heard about that. And really what we've heard is once upon a time, there was a very violent, dangerous murderer who went on dating game. But once I signed on to direct and got into some research and made tweaks, the fact that he went on the dating game is the least interesting part of the story. So instead of focusing on the serial killer himself, the point of the movie, she says, is to study the culture that allowed him to murder at will. That's what this says. It says they're avoiding salacious pitfalls of other true crime films while refusing to shy away from the horror of Rodney Alcala's acts and the culture that allowed him, despite numerous tips over many years, to murder at will. We live in a murder culture.
When they use that phraseology, the point is to implicate fault beyond just specific people.
Well, they're blaming a serial murderer on misogyny in very uncertain or very certain terms. They also rewrote the protagonist, Cheryl Bradshaw, to be a girl boss from the sound of it.
When she was not.
I mean, she was just a normal person. The subject matter might seem dark for Anna Kendrick, but she is the perfect fit to play a plucky Cheryl Bradshaw, a smart, hardworking actor struggling to prove herself and preserve her dignity amid the rampant misogyny of the 1970s. Part of joy and, yes, humor of the movie is watching Cheryl Bradshaw, who reluctantly appears on the game show in a bid to kickstart her acting career, flip the script on the sexist show host and reduce the macho bachelors into stammering man babies.
It's like, what's her name on that interview yesterday with Denzel Washington and Paul Mescal.
Thank you. So basically, this serial murderer got away with killing women because everyone was sexist in the 1970s. Is that what we're supposed to believe? And aside from any of that, Anna Kendrick felt now was the appropriate time to go on the Call Her Daddy podcast and overshare about the 7-year-long abusive relationship she had that broke up in 2020. So she was with, allegedly, the rumor has it, she was with this TV producer / filmmaker, Ben Richardson, for 7 years, and their relationship ended in 2020. Most people think that this is the abuser she is talking about in this interview.
Okay.
How long did that abusive relationship that you endured last?
It didn't follow the traditional pattern, which is kind of yet another reason why I was finding it really difficult to identify it and name it.
I'm waiting to hear about the movie.
Because I was like reading all the articles and going like, this doesn't look like some of it looks like how they're describing it, but not completely. So the relationship was 7 years. It was like an overnight switch. It came out of absolutely nowhere, but was built on this foundation of I had so much love and trust for that person. So I thought it had to be me. Like if one of us is crazy, it must be me. It was very, very difficult to actually go, no, I think this is him. I think this is his stuff. Because I turned my life completely upside down trying to fix whatever was wrong with me. I was just like, will someone just explain to me what's going on? There are even times when I talk about my situation where, as I'm saying it, I will go, am I making that up? Am I making everything up? I remember having a conversation with my therapist like a year after that relationship. She was talking about my ex, and she started to say something where she was like, well, you know, when you're dealing with a wolf in sheep's clothing, and I went, no, what if I'm the wolf? Like, what if it was me? Because I think that was the thing that I didn't expect, was how totally convinced he was of his own victimhood. And I thought, like, well, if he's being manipulative, I'll know it because, you know, I'll smell the bullshit. Like, I'll smell that this is kind of a performance that he's putting on. But I don't think he was putting on a performance. I think he genuinely believed that I was, like, torturing him. He told me one day I was terrorizing him because I was just crying because I couldn't pretend that things were fine anymore. And I just started crying, and he screamed in my face, you're terrorizing me. Sometimes it was so emotional. It was like, Anna, I'm begging you, like, you're ruining everything you're making. Like, it was so real for him that it was like, am I doing something terrible?
Right.
I think they're really convinced that you're doing something terrible to them.
Right.
So like the pain place is real, and that can be very, very misleading and convincing.
Okay.
So after watching that clip of her interview with Alex Cooper, does that tell you anything about the movie? Does that make you want to watch the movie?
See, here's the thing. I don't know if it matters to the female audience that it doesn't, right? What I think it does is it develops a relationship, albeit a parasocial one, between her and the women watching the podcast, where they now feel closer to her and are probably more ingratiated to the idea of consuming her work. So when the movie does come up on Netflix, they'll remember the discussion that she had, and perhaps it makes them more inclined to see if she was able to bring all of that emotion into that role, or I guess into this directing role.
She's also trying to communicate, like, I have a personal connection to the subject matter of this movie, which is violence against women, which I honestly feel like does trivialize the subject matter of the movie, even though she claims it's not doing that. And
well,
she's
she says
also
that because she says that, look, she didn't take a salary.
She's emphasized that she didn't even know this movie would get purchased. She didn't know if this movie would ever make any money. But now that Netflix has purchased the movie, she has vowed to give away all of her proceeds to anti-domestic violence charities. So let's take a look at her explanation for that.
Here we go.
Film festival for someone to buy movies. And that is where, you know, eventually Netflix bought the movie. But it wasn't until like the week before TIFF that I thought, oh, the movie's gonna make money. Like I was just so because
in it and just, like, counting your pennies
I
to, like,
went
pay
from
everyone
being
else.
like, let me know when the movie happens to like, oh God, I'm responsible for this. And then I was just making the movie, and we just barely made the deadline to get into TIFF. And then it was like, oh, there's like money gonna be exchanging hands. And yeah, like I sort of asked myself the question of like, do you feel gross about this? And I did. And so, so I'm not making money off of the movie. The money is going to, or has gone to, RAINN and to the National Center for Victims of Violent Crime, which was a charity that Matt Murphy recommended to me.
And we've done work with both of them. They're
It's interesting. It's on a podcast called Crime Junkie. Would she be judgmental of the podcast making money off of talking about these things?
Right. There's so much
I guess
true
she may
crime
take
content out there.
Which is uniquely driven by women.
Mm-hmm. There's a fascination there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which is why women are afraid to walk alone at night.
And not because all of those true crime enjoyers have personally experienced something that connects them to those victims. Not at all. It's like a sick, voyeuristic obsession that some of them have. I just don't understand why, first of all, your movie promo is a platform for your personal story, which no one asked about. And also your movie is a platform for activism.
This is a product of more and more women getting involved in the filmmaking side of cinema, right? So men making art for different reasons. Activism was probably less of a focus, especially this type of activism would be less of a focus than it would be for women. So now that more and more women are getting jobs as producers, more and more women are taking the helm as directors and, head writers and things like that, they're going to want to tell the stories that they feel are important. And there comes a whole bunch of other societal problems when it comes to making that type of art. Certainly, people have been critical of horror movies or the trivialization of violence in cinema for a very, very long time. That's nothing new. But women are going to have different sensibilities when it comes to stuff like this. And in conjunction with that, marketing to women will have vastly different sensibilities. And I wouldn't be surprised if there was a lot of in-studio discussions, perhaps with Netflix or her manager, about how to effectively market something like this so that it doesn't simultaneously come off as exploitative, but also something that connects with a uniquely female audience.
Yeah, I think that men, if they're in the position of being a director, they're making this movie for the sake of the movie because they're singularly focused, and that's a tendency that men have. And women would be more likely to think, I'm making this movie for
something else,
this cause, because we need to talk about this and we need to raise awareness about this. I mean, actually, I'll take that back. The director of It Ends With Us, I forget his name, was saying the exact same shit. It was like,
Justin Baldoni.
He was saying, I'm making this movie to raise awareness about domestic violence. Yeah. And he was kind of pitting himself against Blake Lively, the star of the movie, who was making it about herself, which is actually what ended up bringing people to go see your movie.
She focused on the types of, on less serious ways in which women would be drawn to the theaters.
Wear florals to the movie. Yeah.
Wear florals to my movie about domestic abuse.
Let's catch up on some super chats. Corey Anderson said, my church has a rock band, doesn't bother me.
Okay.
Are you Catholic? If you're Catholic, it should bother you. If you're Protestant, it shouldn't. Dull and Tired said, I love punk rock, but nah, keep it OG. What is that referring to? I don't know. Rootless Redneck said, bring Buddy Christ back. Okay. Who? I don't know who that is. Shane H. Wilder said, there should not be guitars in Mass, but nothing wrong with Luce. I bet she veils and receives communion on the tongue and recites the rosary in Latin. I agree. I'm going to defend her honor.
Let's do two more.
Cesario JPN said the fan art for Luce is going to be lit, especially with Rule 34 and her appearance in Japan. The internet will be both accepting and unforgiving. Well, I hope that's not going to happen, but knowing the internet, that's inevitable. She is a child, by the way. So just thought I would mention that. Sketch Therapy said, I had to get a new credit card to Superchat.
Thank you for the super
Well,
chat.
thank you.
And what's up, Sketch? I saw you in the chat earlier.
Shane H.
do one more.
Wilder said, we all know the Vatican doesn't use Slack. Have you seen their website? I don't ask much, but a mobile version would be nice.
See, they're like, look, so now some poor guy's like, so we can get Luce, but I can't get a working website?
But they're kind of, they're dragging their feet just out of spite, you know?
Yeah, they're like, I refuse to give in to modernity.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
No mobile version for
All
you.
right, time to move on.
The countdown to People's Sexiest Man Alive of 2024 is on. It's coming out in November, but they just released a list of the subcategories, including the sexiest podcasters of 2024. And guess what? It wasn't us. So you win some, you lose some. It was Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce. They were named People's Sexiest Podcast Hosts.
That's not shocking to me at all.
I just don't get the obsession with Jason Kelce specifically.
Why specifically? Like, why him?
He's literally not attractive. He's not attractive.
I mean, people talk all
His
the time
entire
about
demeanor.
how women look for different things when it comes to attraction in men, and there's a vast array of what might be considered attractive to women.
I know that that's true.
I mean, him
but
being like, I'm sure there's women that find the fact that he's like married and devoted to his wife for an extended period of time.
But then he was like, don't call my wife a homemaker.
Well,
How dare you?
I'm leaving that one out of it, but you get what I'm saying, right? They're like, look, he's a good, despite the fact that he's in a sport that would allow him to be unfaithful if he wanted to, he portrays a family-friendly image. He loves his wife. He loves his kids.
That's nice.
That's a good thing, and women would be more likely to take that into account when it comes
That's
to
very
talking
true,
about the attraction
actually.
of somebody.
You were asking if there was a sexiest woman of the year
Do they do
akin
that
to
anymore?
People magazine, but that's not a thing.
Well, yeah.
As far as I know, it's not as relevant as this one.
It used to be back in the day when FHM and Stuff and magazines like that were around, and Maxim, but now to do something like that would be considered objectifying.
But here's the thing. It's it was objectifying. It was considered objectifying because it was objectifying. There would never be a Maxim Sexiest Woman of the Year dedicated to, you know, the sexiest mom of the year. Like, there's no...
It probably would have been.
All of these People magazine subcategories are related to the man's personal life. Like, longest married sexiest man of the year. Like, they're looking for the man who's the most devoted husband on the list, right?
Yeah.
Like, there would never be something about, like, sexiest devoted wife of the year in Maxim. Like, that's not a thing.
Well, no, because they would never take into account their personal lives. It would just be about their physical appearance.
No, which
That's
is
the whole
exactly the distinction you were just drawing. Like, women would be attracted to his personality, or at least whatever they think his personality is, from the perspective of the public eye. You don't really know these people. They also named the sexiest musician Harry Styles, which I am deeply offended about.
Who would you have picked if you had to?
If I had to, there's like literally nobody. There's nobody left. There's no, like, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
But there are no hot actors or musicians anymore. They're all gone. Like, something is in the water.
Yeah,
it's turning the frogs gay.
There's a certain performative level of social justice that has to be injected to all of these things.
And I am able to be objective. I think that if anyone were to deserve the sexiest man alive of 2024, it would probably be Glenn Powell.
Yeah.
But personally, do I have the hots for Glenn Powell personally? Not really.
But he had a hell of a year.
Yeah.
And he was, he starred in multiple movies. He did really, really well. All of those movies did actually appeal to women too.
Right,
Like when you look at it, both Anyone But You and obviously women enjoyed his character in Twisters because he got to play an actual, like...
That's macho. That's
alpha male.
Right, but that's like not what they're incentivizing anymore. And the fact that Harry Styles is even mentioned in the same sentence is offensive to me.
Yeah.
Like, he is just major soy, and I never found him attractive in the first place. No. I never understood the obsession at all. But I pulled up the historical list of sexiest men alive, it started back in 1985, and you go down the list and you can literally see it degrading over time.
Okay, so who was it in 85?
Mel Gibson. We used to be a country, a proper country.
They're like, look, we love his movies.
Like,
we don't care about his,
This would never happen again. There's actually, you know why this would never happen again? There's no man like Mel Gibson in 2024. He doesn't exist. There's no such thing. That's like an extinct species of man. And then 1986, Mark Harmon, before he had gray hair.
Interesting. I wonder what
Isn't
it
that
was.
funny?
What was it in 1986 that he made? Was it when he played a serial killer?
Saint Elsewhere and Moonlighting?
Yeah, okay. All right. So no Bruce Willis in any was Bruce Willis ever on any of these lists?
I'm still looking through, but I don't think he was.
Okay.
Harry Hamlin was the next one, then JFK Jr., then Sean Connery, of course, another extinct species of man.
I see somebody in the chat mention Sean Connery.
Tom Cruise in 1990, perfect.
A win,
Can't let them get too old.
A win for short kings everywhere.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I'm looking at the original cover for the Tom Cruise Sexiest Man Alive, and on the corner of the page it says abortion. Should you have to tell your parents?
See,
the culture was already degrading.
It never ends.
Patrick Swayze in 91, and Nick.
So Patrick Swayze, that would have been around the time Point Break came out. So that makes sense.
Yes. Dirty Dancing.
Yep, Dirty Dancing.
Right. They even quoted Demi Moore saying he was a very sweet, gentle, kind heart with Southern manners, but also he has a rugged, animalistic physique.
See, but
she was crazy for saying that.
The thing is, you're not allowed to like rugged, animalistic physique anymore.
Nick Nolte?
Okay.
I've never even seen him before. What was he in?
What year was that?
That was 92.
Guys, what do you think it was in 1992 that Nick Nolte would have gotten Sexiest Man of the Year? Like, what's the year after that?
The Prince of Tides?
Okay.
I don't know. I've never seen him in anything.
The difference is the men were still were far more masculine back in the 80s and the 90s.
I'm seeing Richard Gere.
I mean, you're already there. You're getting into like romantic comedy territory.
Right. Has Hugh Grant ever been? I don't know if he has. Brad Pitt in 95, disavow wholeheartedly. I have never understood why women found Brad Pitt attractive. He looks like a girl. It's probably why he has such beautiful daughters, because he has a girl face. He's not attractive, sorry. Denzel Washington in 96.
Okay.
Then George Clooney in 97. Now he's like basically a metaphor for hot movie star.
Yeah, that's my point. Is now when people say he's no George Clooney, they still use George Clooney as the example. They have not updated that
Unfortunately,
example
he went full on crazy, like TDS, turbo TDS. Harrison Ford in 98. Didn't understand that one, but I do understand that he's like a certain phenotype. He's a certain archetype.
But I mean, he did a lot of action movies through the 90s, which means he builds up that charisma and that image.
I think they gave it to Richard Gere again.
Wow.
How does that even happen?
You know what that is?
Then they gave it to Brad Pitt again.
You know what it is about Richard Gere? He was Patrick Dempsey before Patrick Dempsey was Patrick Dempsey.
It's cheating if you get Sexiest Man Alive twice. You shouldn't be allowed to steal it from someone. Then Pierce Brosnan in 01.
So the end of his Bond run. Okay.
Ben Affleck in 2002.
Okay.
And Johnny Depp in 2003.
Okay.
Before the Twink death.
Yep.
Jude Law in 2004. Where has he been?
I saw something about him. I literally just read something about him earlier. Like some
He
headline.
looks a little more feminine than the rest. Matthew McConaughey in 2005.
That's a decade before the reconnaissance that came from True Detectives.
He needed a boost.
True Detective.
They gave it to George Clooney again. And then Matt Damon in 2007.
I would actually find it weird if the guy who's still the prototype for like sexy guy,
he at least deserves it twice.
You know, if everybody has to say you're handsome like George Clooney, then he should get it at least twice.
So Matt Damon, then Hugh Jackman in 2008.
Okay.
Johnny Depp got it twice. And then Ryan Reynolds in 2010.
Disavow?
Nope. Absolutely not. Bradley Cooper. Channing Tatum. I always thought he looked like a walnut. Adam Levine. That's funny. I think I just recently was talking to someone who said that he was like actually very masculine for his time.
For 2012?
For like a male pop star in that
guess.
era. I don't know if I agree with that.
I don't know if I agree with
Chris
that.
Hemsworth
Okay.
was 2014. David Beckham in 2015. The Rock in 2016. I don't see him as anything. He's just The Rock.
He just exists.
He just kind of exists. Blake Shelton in 2017. I think every woman was like, I'm sorry, this was rigged.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. Idris Elba in 2018. John Legend getting Sexiest Man Alive in 2019 was a humanitarian crisis. It was a war crime. It should have never happened. He's disgusting. He's gross. His wife is gross. Everything about him
He's the
sucks.
one married to what, Chrissy Teigen?
Yes,
Yeah.
Chrissy Teigen is his wife. She's the only woman who has ever been attracted to John Legend. I'm sorry. Michael B. Jordan got it in 2020.
He's an example of an actor who's a legitimate star now. Like, who's been around. I saw yesterday Lisa was saying she started watching The Wire. She's like, when does it get good? And I was mortally offended.
Oh yeah,
I was
she
like,
was just trying to give it a chance, but it wasn't clicking.
I was like, oh, here, I can tell you when it gets good. Start episode 1. When it hits 0001, that's when it gets good.
But we always talk about this. Like, I don't want to have to invest a week of my life to try to like this thing that I don't like.
My point was that it was good from the very beginning.
According to you.
According to me. Well, I mean, I'm right, but you know.
Paul Rudd got it in 2021.
Another example of somebody
Never
who's
ages.
just unbelievably safe option.
Safe option, but yeah, the adrenochrome was hitting. Then Chris Evans in 2022.
What year?
21.
Think about that. Clueless came out in 95.
I know, and he's literally just hasn't changed. He got like 2 more forehead wrinkles in that time.
Proof that
insane.
If you can hold on for long enough, you can achieve your dreams.
He must like hibernate during the winter inside like an artificial womb or something. Like, I don't understand how Paul Rudd looks like that.
I can appreciate it. He's the way I think of Paul Rudd, kind of in the same way that I think of Chris Pratt, which is that they're safe adjacent. Chris Pratt has his detractors because they think of him as vaguely right wing.
Yeah.
Because he wears Gadsden flag shirts and is and I guess religious.
But that's the future.
Yeah.
You know,
like,
now that woke is dead.
They're kind of in the same camp, and what's going to happen is Alan Ritchson will end up being that down the line. He'll just be the buffer version of both of them.
And he's like super lib. Chris Evans is also super lib. He was 2022, and I don't understand why anyone finds him attractive.
Why wouldn't they choose him? Like, was there no Robert Downey Jr. on that list?
Nope, not at all.
Surprised
not even in 2008.
Him or Chris Evans wouldn't have won that, or Chris Hemsworth when Avengers Endgame came out, or Avengers Infinity War came out.
I guess you should take it up with women.
Yeah.
It's women's fault. They voted for it. Patrick Dempsey got it last year.
See, again, I seriously believe there is nobody.
We're just going older and older because there's no one left.
Yeah.
Mel Gibson in 1985, we should have just stopped there.
That would have been a good idea.
Because as far as I'm concerned, People's Sexiest Man Alive, it's either rigged or women just don't understand what's attractive anymore because birth control has fried their brains.
I just laugh at all of it because these types of discussions are so fraught with social dynamics now that you're not allowed to just have a blasé conversation about these things. It has to mean something deeper socially.
Right.
Which is why it's better to be a dude where you can just...
Like, oh, you're not allowed to find so-and-so attractive because he has this, like, opinion that I don't like. Or
dudes can just be like, I like Sydney Sweeney because she's Sydney Sweeney and nobody can really question it. Women can question it amongst themselves about why those things happen, but men are never going to look at it that deeply because men are not biologically programmed that way.
Right. So you're saying they're shallow.
Yeah.
Let's read Superchats. Surenko Productions said, God can make saints out of sinners and can make cute anime mascots out of gay Tokidoki artists. Thought it was weird at first, but I'm so Luce pilled right now. I think I agree. I don't think that just because the same artist made gay, pride, whatever stuff in the past means that we can't appreciate this specific thing.
Well, you know, you said that you think it's part of the issue is that the right is starved for culturally beautiful or influential art.
Like, where were you going to find the traditional Catholic artist who can make a Luce?
Yeah.
Not something else. I mean, specifically this style. Would you be able to find that? Maybe, but it would be far more difficult because we live in such an impoverished, like an artistically impoverished time.
If is it an issue where the family, if somebody was raised in a Catholic household, would their family approve of them consuming that type of art to begin with? Therefore, they would never be exposed to it. Therefore, they just never get around to creating anything like that.
Well, I think that they would associate it with something bad because most of the examples are from the secular media. But if they had an alternative that was related to catechesis, then they would be open to it. Shane H. Wilder said, Brett, they used real lions in Roar. It ended badly. Oh.
See? They wanted to make it too real.
Sketch Therapy said, will the new studios come with channel memberships?
We are not opening channel memberships right now.
Who knows?
But the best way you can support the show is to watch. Is to watch the show and share it out with your friends. And if you have questions, to super chat.
That's Stanzatastic.
Things that you want to say.
Said, okay, hear me out. Praising Space King, so good. All right, we're hearing you out. We just don't understand. Sketch Therapy said, do members get Mary, Ghost Girl, and Brett Blade Boy emojis? That would be cool.
That would be cool.
Marcos said, I saw a guy at work wearing a Kirkland sweatshirt. Costco guys would be proud. A Kirkland brand sweatshirt.
Yeah, I see those. I think I saw a Kirkland brand sweatshirt at Tractor Supply. It's probably where they got it.
Zach Yandel said, Brett, did you watch Marvel Werewolf by Night 2022?
No, that was, look, I just can't.
You're so black-pilled right now.
I started watching Agatha as a meme.
Yeah.
And found the short length of the episodes.
You got bewitched.
I got bewitched. I found the short length of the episodes endearing and Catherine Hahn's insane overacting to be endearing in a way. She has this severe face that she overuses her mouth in every word she ever says, but it's actually not just baked into her character, but it's how she herself actually acts.
Right.
'Cause if you watch Catherine Hahn and anything else, certainly I watch a lot of her, and I rewatch episodes of Crossing Jordan all the time, and she acts the same way, just obviously not as an evil witch. But the rest of Marvel TV, I liked Hawkeye. I thought Hawkeye was charming. I liked that they got it done in 6 episodes.
Moon Knight?
I didn't watch Moon Knight. And the rest of it, I just can't. I can't. I got through 1 episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I'm like, this will never be as good as the Winter Soldier. It will never be as good as Civil War. I'm not able to. I can't. I do think Shang-Chi was still better than the Eternals, though.
That's not saying much.
Make of that what you will.
Stefan Buttle said ICP backed Kamala for president. Very fitting.
It is funny. Juggalos for Kamala.
Sad. Emily Fedorko said, sent you Halloween costume to react to on X. Hope you get to see it. Happy Halloween.
Perhaps we will do that tomorrow.
Okay. We'll look for it. Thank you. Philip Reed said, correction, Violent J has it because his daughter is 1 and he wanted to spend more time with her. I can no longer be upset.
Okay, there you go. Fine.
Okay, so wait. His daughter is a furry, so he decided to also become a furry so that they could bond over both being furries? I completely disagree. The only correct option here as her father is to ban her from being a furry and take away her fursuit, and also confiscate her phone and any access to the internet so she does away with this nonsense.
And ask her about magnets and how they work.
What?
Never mind.
I don't know what that means.
If you know, you know.
Okay. Corey Anderson said, didn't know Brett and Rizzler were the same height.
Wah, wah.
I'm looking at him right now. His feet don't even touch the floor.
They were, somebody was also saying, somebody earlier asked, does Brett wear glasses to hide the fact that he's cross-eyed?
You're not even cross-eyed, though. If you were, we would be able to tell.
Yep.
Gordon Shumway said ICP juggalos are to millennials and Gen Z as Kiss Army was to boomers and Gen X.
Okay.
Meaning what exactly?
I guess kind of a meme.
On the Raggedy Ann said, my rule giving out candy, no costume, no candy. That's completely fair.
That is completely fair.
I thought that was always the rule.
That makes perfect sense. Why would anybody do so otherwise?
Drewish AF of God's Army, still working on my jelking game. Pray for me.
No praying for you.
No,
man.
I will not.
I will not.
I will not be doing that.
I mean,
whatever the opposite is that.
I'm not going to tell you can't, but I'm not going to pray.
I will be praying on your downfall. Corey Anderson said Mary could definitely pull off Sydney Sweeney. Well, I don't want to, so it's not going to happen.
How tall is Sydney Sweeney?
5'6".
Is she?
I think. It's weird that I know that. I've looked up a lot of celebrity heights. JTR11 said, I hope we have all learned a valuable lesson today. Tarantino kinda sucks.
Look, here's the thing. I understand that a lot of people don't like his personality and find him grating in interviews.
He is
all of
those things.
I find something endearing about a dude who delivers on his films every time, meaning that they're usually critical. The dude has a reputation, okay? Mm-hmm. And when you develop a certain reputation and you get that kind of level, you're allowed to speak on it. Now, my problem is when somebody who hasn't earned the right to speak on it doesn't have the street cred to do so.
Right. Shane H. Wilder said, were there feet in Joker 2? That's the only reason Tarantino would like it. Freaking weirdo. I completely forget whether there were any feet in Joker 2.
I don't remember. I mean, they stripped the dude naked, basically, so there's probably feet in there.
But where are the feet shots? I don't know. Nate said, Taxi Driver kicks ass.
Again, that's what I meant when I said films can be derivative and successful because it gives people a baseline for understanding the piece.
Red Snow said the plural of Chungus. Chungai, Chungizis, or Chungies. It's definitely Chungai.
Chungai.
I think that's...
We're about halfway to a fourth crisis party, guys.
Just,
pointing that out.
Letting you know. Corn Pop, I am...
Skipping that one?
Gonna skip that one. I don't know what it means, but it doesn't sound good. Greg Duvier said red hair, Mary. I also had red hair at one point.
So you had blue and red at one point?
Not at the same time.
No, I know not at the same time, but
yeah.
you've done both. Okay.
Well, what I did was I had black hair, and then I grew out my blonde hair, and then I bleached it, and I put red on the top of my hair, which was like what Billie Eilish did 2 years after the fact, and then she got all the credit. Shane H. Wilder said Cringe was scarier than any horror movie. It's not scary, it's just kind of pathetic.
No, it just kind of made me depressed.
It looks desperate.
That type of overacting, and I hate it.
Will Ferrell needed to get a bigger size t-shirt too.
I also hate celebrities who probably don't know each other that well, who get put
pretending
together
to be BFFs.
It's one of my biggest. I thought about this the other day. There's like a Lonely Island video, where he's talks about being best friends with Diddy. Mm-hmm. I wonder if they're gonna pull that one.
They might have already done that. Yeah, we should check on that. Shane H. Wilder said, one Halloween I dressed as a zombie Percy how do I say this? Bishashelli?
I can't see it.
To be part of the Dead Poets Society. No one got it, but I won $100.
Did you see I don't think I ever saw Dead Poets Society. I think it was a little bit before my time.
I have seen it, but it's been a while.
I think that's
I
the
did
one
like
with
it.
Robert Sean Leonard in it. But did you see the kid's costume who got third place this year, where he's like decapitated? Like, how does that get third, dude? That kid must have put weeks of work into that thing.
DEI.
There was people who were like, legitimately, I don't know how he's doing that. That's amazing.
I didn't understand it either. It was kind of crazy. We did a lot of I knew a lot of kids in school who would do costumes like that, super detailed and like
Put a lot of work into it.
They put a lot of work into it.
Carter
because-
loves his Halloween costume.
Like, see, here's the thing. If you're putting in, like, all the effort into a Halloween costume that you just bought, I think that's kind of cringy. If you made it, that's cool.
Yeah.
I can respect that. But yeah, at my school, we would always do saint costumes for All Saints Day. And there was a whole contest for that, too.
Carter here loves Halloween. He always goes all in on he makes like his own Halloween
Mothman costume was pretty great. Edmundo Jr. Petruziello said, costume idea, Beth and Daryl from The Walking Dead, but Brett as Beth and Mary as Daryl. I will be going as a sexy zombie Diddy in an all-white IDF uniform. You hit all the marks.
That's awesome.
I think we're gonna go to woke jail. I think that Daryl had this really cool leather vest with like the angel wings on the back.
Yeah.
I've always wanted
They
one
always
like that.
they always point out they're like, I love that the actor Norman Reedus, like, I love that he won't cut his hair for any role.
Nothing.
That he
No.
leaves
Yeah.
his hair the same length all the time.
But it works.
It's
It
kind of
works for
like
him.
the dude who the dude from NCIS New Orleans. I always forget. Black. It's not Shane Black. Shane Black's the director, but the actor won't change his accent. He's got a very Southern accent. He's like,
Yeah.
either you let me be Southern or I don't do the role.
Anna de Armas basically
Black,
does the
sorry.
same thing. She never gets rid of her accent. Stefan Buttle said, I'm dressing up as the 19th Amendment. Very scary.
Okay, one of my favorites that I saw recently, which was very Reddit, but also made me laugh, was it just says it's a guy dressed up as a job application, but it was during COVID. It was like after COVID.
Yeah.
That made me laugh.
Red Snow said, apples killed my pet rock. Don't traumatize me, please. I'm sorry.
With that being said, I'm going to end the poll. Apples with razor blade is voted the worst Halloween candy, but not by much. It only had 36% of the vote.
So second was Circus Peanuts, justified. Candy corn third, and Tootsie Rolls last.
Okay.
I think Twizzlers should have been on there because they're just disgusting. They're just disgusting. Cowtails, you said you like those. I will never respect you again.
I didn't say I would like go out of my way to get them, but I'll eat them.
Disgusting.
They showed up in Halloween candy.
It's a crime. New Guy Don't Haze Me said, given what happened earlier this year, I'm guessing if someone dresses up as a boat and a friend as a bridge and the two keep bashing into each other, that would be disingenuous? What?
Remember a couple of years ago when the boat also got caught in the channel sideways?
Wait,
the
what?
shipping
Oh, the
container got
Suez
like in the canal. Have like three
Yeah.
people go in like a group costume on as either sides of the canal and the boat sideways.
I'm surprised I haven't seen any Ocean Gate related costumes.
probably
And that wasn't on the BuzzFeed list.
It wasn't.
Suspicious. Shane H. Wilder said, notice they didn't say sexy nuns. Very telling.
Yep.
Yeah. They, they're willing to offend some people. Nate said, bro, Gen Z does not have some revolutionary take on 9/11. I laugh at the jokes too. Well, I think that it's just Gen Z finds things like that funny because they didn't experience them. So it's all...
They're more divorced. From
It's all
what happened.
two-dimensional to us.
Mary has asked me multiple times. She's like, so what were you doing on 9/11?
Yeah, like you don't even remember what you were thinking.
No,
on 9/11.
I was in. What did I say earlier? I'm an unreliable narrator in my
Yeah.
own life. I was in homeroom. That's all I remember.
You don't self-mythologize.
I don't remember if they sent us home. I remember they put it on the TV in homeroom, and that's all I remember.
Should have at least gotten a half day. Weary Traveler said, I like circus peanuts and candy corn. I truly am the black sheep of society. What is wrong with you? Genuinely? Like, are we even the same species?
I feel like circus peanuts could be saved with better flavor. I actually don't mind the texture of circus peanuts, but they just taste disgusting.
Whatever they are, they're not marshmallows. I know
I mean,
that.
it's genetically modified slop. It's awesome. It tastes gross.
I don't have a problem with genetically modified slop at all, in principle. I love Peeps.
Yeah,
right?
My mom loved Peeps too.
Love plenty of GMO corn syrup slop. I'm all about that. But you have to draw a line somewhere.
Yep.
And it's at Circus Peanuts. Corey Anderson said, wholesome Chungus merch. You lie. I love mounds.
So there is at least one person on the earth that like. I think my mom liked Almond Joy and Mounds, but still, I had to explain to Olivia the other day what a Nut Goodie was, which was a type of candy bar, but it was from Minnesota.
I've never even heard of it.
Pearson's was a candy company that was in Minnesota.
Oh, what are those? They have marshmallow and they're covered in chocolate, and it's like a cookie, but it's not. And
this description means nothing to me.
It has its own like special name.
Ugh.
I'm trying to think of it. What is it? Someone in the chat will know.
Yeah.
I haven't actually described it very
Moon
well.
pie?
No, but it's like crunchy, I think. Not really.
Okay.
Wait.
They're all saying moon pie.
No.
Whoopie pie?
No.
Doesn't sound like a real
no. It has like a special name. Okay, whatever. I'll remember like 5 hours later.
Star Crunch?
No. Google Cluster! Yes! That's what I mean.
I don't even know what the hell that is.
The Google Cluster. That's what I want. Carnell said, I hate gay Halloween. Insert one of Brett's random IMDb trivia entries. Yeah, it's Brett Halloween.
Every IMDb trivia reference that I've made or entry that I've done is a benefit to society.
Yeah, I think
have made society better every single time.
I think we should engrave your tombstone with every IMDb trivia fact.
That's a good idea.
Colby Hansen said, Mary should be a serial unaliver for Halloween. They look like everyone else. Addams Family Wednesday reference.
Or Unilever. You should. Did people say you should go as Wednesday Addams like incessantly?
No, actually.
No, I'm surprised.
Which is odd. I have gotten that suggestion in the past, especially when I had black hair. But the lowest effort costume, you just grab a box of cereal and a knife. Serial killer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Corey Anderson said, Anna Kendrick used to be my celebrity crush until Mary came along. LOL, heart emoji, JK Mary. It's really Brett. Fire emoji. The fact that you've typed all of these out.
Fire emoji.
winky face emoji.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually have heard that from several guys that Anna Kendrick is their hear me out celebrity crush. But I find it entirely believable. I think she's a pretty girl. Colby Hansen said, Anna sounds like she's passively aggressively upset she didn't make anything off her role.
I didn't take it that way. I mean, I didn't take it that way at all.
She just has enough money, she feels, so she can give it away.
Well, and likely it will project her forward to new opportunities because she was talking about directing.
Yeah. Nate said, okay, look, whatever she's talking about, who cares? Pitch Perfect rocked. Shower singing was awesome.
I still remember the Honest trailer for this. I think an Honest trailer sometimes it's like welcome
have you seen it though?
To the magic. I think I might have seen the first one on cable.
Okay.
But it was like welcome to the magical world where colleges actually like a cappella groups.
Yeah.
Like where a cappella groups are popular.
Is that even a thing?
That's not really a thing.
But I watched it way after it was relevant, and I thought it was
I do like that you
really
could still have
unfunny.
characters named Fat Amy.
Okay,
right? And
yeah.
that you could still make fun of fat people. But she's not even fat. Rebel Wilson isn't even fat anymore, so.
Yeah, the standard for fat has also changed. Like, she wouldn't even be considered fat in this day and age.
Yep.
Not That John Stewart said, Buddy Christ is from the movie Dogma,
yeah.
R.I.P. George Carlin.
Yep, it's been such a long time. I saw people in the chat that were very upset that I didn't voice that it was from Dogma. It's been so long since I've seen it.
Corey Anderson.
Oh, I did see somebody. I think I read somewhere that that they got the rights back to Dogma recently, and will be doing like a 25th anniversary release or a 30th anniversary release of it.
Corey Anderson said, Protestant, do Catholics do Christmas pageants?
The hell is a Christmas pageant?
I remember doing those like at school, you know?
Okay.
Did you do those?
I don't remember. I told you, I'm an unreliable narrator in my own life. My childhood is just...
It's literally just a blur.
It kind of is.
All right, did you just block something really traumatic?
No, I don't think so. I just don't think that way.
It was like always the last night before Christmas break where everyone does the Christmas pageant and you sing a bunch of songs for your parents and your grandparents and they take videos on camcorders.
We were allowed to open one gift Christmas Eve, and then we opened the rest Christmas Day. I have memories of that. I have most of my childhood memories are of me being awake at 4 in the morning while everybody else was asleep in my room.
But you have no idea what you were thinking about.
No.
Were you rotating an apple in your mind?
No, I was listening to music or, reading.
That's pretty based. Yeah. Red Snow said, "Taste."
I wasn't reading literature. I was reading like comic strips and Calvin and Hobbes comics. So
it's kind of based. Yeah. Red Snow said, "Taystway fortified the election on Sexiest podcast." Taylor Swift? Yeah. Is that her name now?
Yeah, she paid to make sure that the Kelseys were up there.
Corey Anderson said, "Sexiest musician Fred Durst." Also, I would like to see a George Washington biopic starring Mel Gibson. That would be epic. Brett, put me in contact.
Yeah, I'll call Mel up.
Yeah, we'll just call our guy.
One of the, talking about, because we brought up the Trump assassination earlier, it reminded me that I remember I told you I called my dad earlier this year, or I texted my dad. I said, me, you, all 4 members of my family were born on the date of a presidential assassination or attempted assassination.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Zach Andel said, "Stop polling the coastal women."
Well, yeah. I mean, that's, I need to see the data on how you compiled these lists of attractive people so that I can know that there's been no funny business in here.
Meanings for something like
People
Sexiest Man Alive?
magazine, they're only talking about coastal women that are talking about this stuff.
Sketch Therapy said, "Do you make more money from super chats than memberships?" We don't have memberships, and we do not personally keep the money from your super chats.
But it does keep us employed.
Yes.
Yes.
Still not. It's not like it's not important.
Yes, it's what keeps us in job.
The Manic Mustache said, "Late as usual, but apropos to the Discord, I nominate Brad Dasovic, aka Less Hot Glenn Powell, for Sexiest Podcaster of the Year. # no Cuomo."
That was backhand full. That was a backhand full of knuckles compliment, just like everything Tarantino was saying about Joker 2 earlier, where all the compliments were kind of a diss on the movie. He's like, "Hey, good job, Less Hot Glenn Powell."
Less Hot Glenn Powell is
That's
still
fine.
pretty high praise.
I'll take it.
Rhaegar Targaryen said, "Legend has it, Violent J is still perplexed by magnets to this day."
How do they work? We have to know.
Rhaegar Targaryen said, "An apple with a razor is at least a functional gift." I don't know how to feel about that. Ulvin McGoth said, "Hear me out, the Silent Hill nurse."
For a Halloween costume.
Hear me out as in this is your hear me out, or what?
That was that meant there's probably plenty of men, who would say that.
High Voltage 75 said, "Disgusting," says the girl who eats packing peanuts. You know what? I've been called out.
Fair.
That's totally fair.
I'll never forget the day Mary told me that. I was like, "Is there a hidden camera in here somewhere? What the fuck do you mean you eat packing peanuts?"
But have you tried them?
No, I have not tried eating
Would
packing
you try
peanuts.
them?
No.
You should. It's literally just cornstarch.
I'm going to pass.
It's literally made of cornstarch. It's completely safe to eat.
Look, people make fun of me for my bad diet as it is. I can't devolve even further into eating packing peanuts.
Shane H. Wilder said, "My parish is doing a dress as a saint tonight for the kids in the parish activity center. The kids have to go to daily mass first."
Okay.
Seems like a pretty good trade-off.
Yep.
The Last of My Kind said, "Is Leo DiCaprio dating Greta Thunberg?"
No.
I really hope not. That would be incredibly cursed. But they do share their beliefs about climate change, so maybe there's something there.
3/4 of the way to the 4th crisis party, guys. Remember, that's what keeps the show in the air, as you asked earlier.
Potatoes for Seamus said, "Marion Brett, who is your celebrity crush?"
I don't have a celebrity crush. I probably did when I was younger.
Well, who was it when you were younger then? That counts.
I'd have to think about it and get back to you. Jessica Alba when I was younger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's not really relevant anymore.
No.
I don't know. Tucker Carlson. He's not, that doesn't count as a celebrity crush, but yeah, Tucker Carlson and Martin Shkreli. That's it. Those aren't celebrity crushes though. That doesn't count. Winter Fire said, "I'm being divorced Rick Grimes. Instead of walkers, I fight unfair family court and my ex-wife, Hori. Coral. Love you guys. Wow.
Wow. Okay, then.
Didn't they kind of divorce in the show, but not really, because, you know, the world ended and you can't file for divorce anymore?
Yeah, like, I like the idea that he's so bitter he goes and files the form anyway, even though the building has been completely overrun with walkers.
Yeah.
He, like, fights past a bunch of them and shoots the walkers in the head and then goes and drops the form off at the office where he used to have to go and meet with his lawyer or some social worker.
No, but they made it work. Drewish AF of God's Army said, I meant pray for me to stop, LMAO.
Oh, to stop jelking.
Okay.
That's fair.
Sketch Therapy said, Timcast has memberships. Why aren't you allowed to?
The point is if you want to support the show, you would go do it through Timcast memberships, but otherwise the
Do
best
you mean
way to
YouTube channel memberships?
Yeah.
Because if that's what you're referring to,
they don't
I don't know anything about why Tim decided to have them on his channel or why, you know, we decided not to. It's not really even that big of a deal.
Yep.
Sketch Therapy said just want y'all to get more income and pay raises. That's all.
Well, keep
it's not
watching.
directly what we are paid for transparency purposes is not directly related to the revenue that this channel makes, but that obviously doesn't mean that the revenue this channel makes doesn't matter to us.
No, it does. It has to justify the show being kept on the air.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole point. All right, guys, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video, please, and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. Perhaps tomorrow we'll go through the worst candies.
Yeah,
on
we'll
Halloween.
go over that with Phil tomorrow.
I would be interested to know what the chat
Yes.
thinks of this. Mary, where can they find you?
Also, we are close to a fourth party. We're $17 away from the fourth party. Maybe we'll get it before the end of the intro.
Does that mean we have to do the
outros.
NPR outro?
I'm not going to. You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived. We have another from Potatoes for Seamus. Mary likes older men. Also, Brett loves mocha.
How old is Martin Shkreli? You said Martin Shkreli. I don't know how old Martin Shkreli is.
How old is he? What is he, like 40?
Okay.
Something? And Tucker Carlson. I don't know if it really counts as like a type if they're people you've never met. Weary Traveler sent us a 20 with no message.
Thank you.
Thank you. Not That John Stewart said, if I recall correctly, Tim started IRL membership to minimize chat silliness so people don't get the show canceled.
Well, we are very lucky that for the most part, we have a great chat and everybody in there has a good time and hangs out and interacts with us, and we appreciate you guys so much for that.
We have a lot more silliness and a lot less toxicity.
Yep.
Red Snow said, hit that praise be to Space King button.
If only we could add that to the show.
Shane H. Wilder said, peanut M&Ms are goated. I kind of disagree because it forces you to chew the M&M, and I don't like that.
I like the peanut M&M or the crispy M&Ms when they had them.
Oh, they got rid of those?
They might be back now, but all right. I forgot. Did you do your outro?
I did.
Okay, guys. Thank you again, everyone, so much for joining us today. If you're new here again, thank you for finding this channel, and we hope that you will come back for more. If you would like to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and on Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. This show is here 5 days a week, guys. Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is noon Pacific. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would prefer to listen rather than watch this show, remember you can rate and review on Apple Podcast and Spotify, so go ahead over there and do that for us. Thank you so much. And if you want to follow the show on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook and not TikTok because we are banned on TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. I do want to give another reminder that next week, guys, during election week, we will be off the air. Mary's going to be out of town with she's going to be over there in Nashville with everybody, right?
Yep. For the election week trip.
Okay, so there'll be all sorts of stuff being done over there. I will be working here on moving the studio over to Freedomistan, so there will be no shows next week. We will put up a community note on Monday. Perhaps we'll put a reminder each day just to do so. But I just want to give you guys a heads up so that nobody is surprised.
There's that.
There's that.
Party.
There it is.
Thank you.
Dogs are eating the cats. Eat the cat. eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating
We have two more though. That Stanzatastic said hostage party, and Shane H. Wilder said boo. I'm really scared right now.
Yes. So no shows next week. Have no fear. Don't freak out. Everything's going to be fine. It's just going to take some time to get everything moved. And with the election going on, that is the perfect time to do it. So stay tuned. There will be segments coming out that are pulled from this show. So stay tuned. Check those out. It is another way that you can support the show. Is there one more there?
We have two more. Potatoes for Seamus said chat is mid. JK Brett is lit. Mary is based AF.
There you go.
We love the chat. Yep. High Voltage 75 said hear me out. Green M&M. That's not even a hear me out. That's just objectively... Yeah, like the green M&M is an icon. She's a sex symbol.
As we know, Tucker Carlson has strong thoughts.
She is a sex symbol. That little piece of chocolate, she is a sex symbol in her white go-go boots.
Guys, we'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.